We've been talking about Bear Down Logistics for a while.
Yeah, man. That's our buddy Corey Davis. He is a BDM.
Yep, 100%. beardown-logistics.com. And they help companies ship things.
Yes.
Okay? So basically the logistics company, but what that means is if you have a business, they'll help you ship maybe like you have an event, scaffolding and staging you need shipped to someplace, or you need your product shipped from the factory to your stores, or any shipping, which a lot of businesses deal with.
And a lot of that staging stuff can be very difficult.
Yeah, and so this is what me and Corey Davis were talking about. He's a BDM. He wants to help businesses out because they have the personal customer service, the live tracking, all the different trucks, every size truck.
Yeah, they have the knowledge to know how to do that stuff.
Yeah. So if you are in a business that ships anything, which most likely you are, and you refer to your boss or to someone within your company,
maybe you're in charge of
that handles the shipping, and you say, hey, I heard there's beardown-logistics.com. They're a really good local company. BDM will handle all this, and he'll save you money and save your company money. We will give you a prize, or you can come in and watch the show. Just let us know, like, hey, I referred Corey Davis, or Corey will tell us, like, hey, this BDM referred us. I got a new client.
It's worth a shot. Yeah, run it up the flagpole. See what you can do. Connect your company with Corey Davis, and it's a win-win. You could save a little money. You could work with a BDM. Get your shipping done correctly and better than most, and save some money for your company.
Yeah, and you can come in and watch the show.
Absolutely.
And we'll appreciate it very much. So, again, it's beardown-logistics.com. Corey Davis, his number is 386-212-0201. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha is celebrating her anniversary. Happy anniversary, Sam.
We hope you guys had a good weekend, watching some playoff football.
I love it.
Losing all your money gambling I did.
Watching the storm. Also, storms of the centuries rolling through, right? 75% of the, it was hard for Maisie to wrap her brain around this, 75% of, I guess, North America is grappling with storm weather. We are the 25% not. Nothing happening here.
Yeah, not for this time of year.
Nothing happening here.
Our time comes in the summer.
Yeah, high of 75 today, folks.
I would have won more bets if they played the Buffalo Steelers game instead of postpone it. But since they postponed it, all the bets are void now.
Is that really?
They give your money back.
Now will they take new bets?
Yeah.
Is it?
They opened up the lines again, but it's all because I was watching this winter storm. Everybody's talking about like bet the under, like the team total under, and like Steelers have a chance now that the storm's going to be so bad.
Yep.
And then they're like, we're moving the game. Then they showed the video, and then it's like, I don't even know what the footage. You're looking at the footage of just some white screen, and then you see some like shadow of a tractor.
It was the worst.
That's it?
Yeah, I saw the same footage you're talking about. It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I was like, what even is that? Then they showed another.
They're like, if we played this game, Bills fans will die out here. Look, they'll show up and die
they
in
said
the
that,
stadium.
but then immediately they're like, and Bills fans are showing up today. They're getting paid with unlimited concession food to push snow. And then they cut to it. Half the guys had no shirts on.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they're out there shoveling snow, no shirts.
Yeah, drunk Bills Mafia.
That's hypothermia. They're like, I'm burning up.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
So this Saturday is Science on Tap. It's Lock Haven Park right next to the Orlando Science Center. We're all going to be out there. It's a great beer fest. If you use promo code Tom and Dan 50, that's $10 off your ticket when you check out. Normally it's $60, but you get $10 off with promo code Tom and Dan 50.
Do we know where we're at on VIP tickets? Because you can get those, but I thought they were running low. That's a $90 ticket. You can get a what do you call it? A designated driver ticket, I believe, for $30. But if you really want to save that money, use the Tom and Dan 50 code to get that $50 ticket.
Yep. And then next Saturday is the Solar Bears whiteout game. Everybody's wearing white. Yep. We're all going to be there as well. Then we're doing a pre-tailgate at Moe's office parking lot.
Yes.
Busdecker's setting up a tent. It's going to have beers. We're going to have White Claw out there. So free beer and White Claw.
I'm thinking about doing Danny Denny
food.
Little tiny white tuxedo.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about doing little tiny white tuxedo.
Full tuxedo?
Top hat.
Wait, listen.
I want to do...
I support it.
How much do I get in my Tom and Dan budget? How much do I get in my costuming budget?
If you want to wear a tuxedo,
I want a white tuxedo, white top hat, and a cane.
Because I'm just wearing a V-neck shirt. It's the only white shirt I have.
What if I wore a white sleeping shirt and one of those Scrooge hats? A white Scrooge hat.
If you want to go above and beyond,
I want to go above and beyond. I do.
Chris Crespo's here. How you doing, Chris?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Cinema Crespediso podcast for all your movie information.
Have you noticed that Chris looks more and more movie like? He looks like a director. I swear to God, I'm putting him on the camera right now. He looks like live on the set with literally an Oscar award winning film director.
I am going for 70s film producer.
You look awesome.
Who may be using some of the budget for cocaine expense.
I was about to say, you could also be 70s porn director.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's a vibe. You should see me at home. I'm sorry. I'm starting to wear silk kimonos at home. It's pretty rad. It's pretty awesome.
I've noticed that, I'm 47. I've noticed that as I inch toward, I know. I've noticed that as I inch towards 50, I find myself wanting to dress more outlandish and unbutton my shirt more.
Yes.
I unbutton my shirt a lot these days.
Try kimono, chain, no shirt.
Okay.
You feel like a god.
All right. I'll take you up on that.
Or Alfred Molina in Boogie Nights. That's also something I'm going for.
Yeah. I like that. Very nice.
So, Chris, where do we want to start today? Do you want to start with movies that are currently playing? Do we want to start with some movies that are coming out?
Well, I do have a list of movies coming out this year since it's early in the year.
Okay.
I figured that'd be a pretty easy way to kill a couple segments.
Let's do it.
But yeah, I have a list of over 30 movies, and actually this year is going to be weird because of the strikes. Right, the strikes went on so long last year that the output for 2024 is going to be 50% of what it normally would be. People were predicting 2024 was going to be the year that the film industry was going to fully bounce back from COVID.
The bounce back year.
This was going to be the full bounce back year. We were going to have box office numbers that were looking like 2018, 2019, which were the highest box office grossing years of all time. But because of now the lack of content, there's going to be another hit this year, and the theaters are still going to have to weather another year of lower grosses compared to past years before we get to 2025, and then we have a full slate again. But there's still I still have 36 movies here on my list, and these are all like the big popular ones that I don't have to go down a rabbit hole to explain to you what it is.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I'm also leaving a lot off the list. Like there's an animated Transformers movie coming out this year that I didn't even know about, and all this stuff is crazy.
Digitally animated or standard analog?
I haven't seen the look, but I'm guessing it's going to be digital. Like that hand-drawn analog stuff is really, really old-fashioned. The Boy and the Heron, the Japanese movie, the Miyazaki movie.
I've been wanting to see that.
Oh, it's an incredible film, and it looks gorgeous, and it's because it's like 90% hand-drawn. It looks great, and there's some CG animation, but it's
Can you
thrown in so
explain
well.
that particular filmmaker to Tom? Do you know what he's talking about?
Oh,
No.
yeah, Hayao Miyazaki.
Can you? Yeah, this guy, when he releases stuff, it's kind of described as he's like, is it like he is one of the best, if not the best?
Oh, yeah.
And he just sneaks back into the shadows, and then every once in a while he'll come out and then just give you a gift of something amazing and then peep back into the shadows.
Like here's another masterpiece, and then he's gone for 5-7 years. Actually, he retires. He's retired 4 times, and then he keeps coming back to make another movie.
What other movies has he done that we should probably know about or look at?
His most popular ones outside of this here in North America would probably be Howl's Moving Castle and Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
And these are movies where what they do is when they release them in North America, they redub them in English, but with actors that people know. So Christian Bale's in a bunch of them, Cate Blanchett, so then they can advertise them. This new one that's out, Robert Pattinson is playing the Heron.
Spirited Away is awesome.
Spirited Away is an incredible film.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's that anybody I think would enjoy.
I think so. I think they have real cross-cultural and cross-generational appeal, all his movies.
They're
Some
smart.
of them skew a little younger, but for the most part, they can be pretty cool for adults. And yeah, he just has a reputation of making smart, well-made, beautiful movies.
Yeah,
and
it doesn't feel like a waste of time.
No, and this one...
some cartoons feel it's not that. It's not that.
And the crazy thing about this new one that's out now, it opens $12 million. Already the highest grossing film of his in North America. His movies don't make that much money here, box office-wise. They're all video hits.
Sure.
But this one made a bunch of money. It is the highest It's the most expensive Japanese animated movie ever made. Took them 7 years to make it. Part of that was because of COVID. It had over 60 animators. And then when they released it in Japan, they had no marketing campaign. They said the name of the movie. They put out a one-sheet poster that was very minimal. And then all they said was, this is the new film from Miyazaki, and it'll probably be his last film. No trailers, no commercials.
It was really neat. I saw it kind of go that way in like, you would see it like, even just like a very subtle commercial or something. It would just be a picture of what it is. Mm-hmm. Here it is. This guy's a legend. Take it or not.
Go see it. No, we're not even going to tell you nothing about what it is. And it ended up being a gamble that paid off. It broke records in Japan. It's breaking records here in North America.
I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah, it's great. And the guy's like 85 years old.
That's the thing that's crazy. The chat room, a lot of our chat room members are describing more like an artist, less of a filmmaker. More more like, and that's what I think draws me to. It makes me go like, man, I got some catching up to do.
Yeah. And I haven't seen nearly all of his movies. I'm actually this year I'm making it a point to go through and watch all of them. He has 12 films that he's directed.
Help remind me of that if you don't mind, because I want to stay on this.
Oh, sure.
Next time you're in, if I'm not, ask me.
Yeah,
make sure I'm watching.
A bunch of them are online on like Max and stuff. So the cool thing is to make this movie, and then we'll move on to something else. But to make this movie, because it costs so much money, the company he runs is called Studio Ghibli, and they didn't want to put their movies out on streaming for years. They were like, we want this to be special. We want people to go to it, because every year in theaters, you'll see them playing these movies in theaters.
Yeah.
They do re-releases. They have home video. They want people to go out of their way to find them. They don't want it to just be on a streaming service with everything else, because it diminishes their value, but they needed money to make this movie. So they struck deals to then release everything on streaming. So it's all available now, and they got the money to make their movie. But now they had to compromise with now all their stuff just on HBO Max, mixed in with all the other garbage, you gotta look for it. Yeah, it's interesting.
I think they should make more movies without trailers.
Yes.
I love it.
Because it makes it.
I agree. Yes.
I do it with
that
shows
way you go into it blank.
I do it with shows now, because how often do you, even with reality shows, even with, let's take something as stupid as a baking challenge show, they show you who continues, who wins in even in the beginning before the show. So now I've just started watching TV. If it's on, I think that's why I gravitate towards sports. You don't know what's going to happen.
You can't. Alone does that. I know you watch Alone, Tom. I watch a bunch of Alone. If you watch the opening credits, the montage you do, you can see bad things happen to this person, bad things. So then you're just sitting there waiting for the bad thing to happen that they're spoiled for you.
Yeah, I don't want any of that. Like lately, I've been just walking into, even if it's something Andrea has on, I'm like, what are you watching? I'm just like, don't explain it. I'll figure it out. It's just better that way.
I do that at film festivals. That's a great opportunity where all I see is movie titles, and like maybe I'll look at the genre, but I won't look at much else. And then I'll just go into it knowing the title and maybe an actor in the movie. The first 20 minutes of any movie becomes the most exciting thing in the world, because you have no idea what the story is, where it's going. Yeah. And then after like the first act, like, oh, it's this kind of movie. And then, you come back down to earth.
You're more invested. You have to be. You're trying to figure it out.
I think so.
You
can't just rely on, I saw this in the trailer.
I do like it. Yeah. Like I've noticed that sometimes even the trailer or even what they say coming up next, you're skewing me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. Like, don't do that.
It's weird how they do that. Yeah.
But now that I think about it, the world is stupid. And they have to be shown, you're going to watch this, and this is what happens. Now watch it.
Yeah, no, the world is very stupid.
And people are like, okay. And then they don't want to go into something that they have no idea scares them. They want to be comfortable. Yep. They want to know what's going to happen.
Because it could be seen as a waste of time if you don't fully know what you're getting into. I'm going the opposite. It's less of a waste of time if I just go into it, and then I'll decide. I'll do like Crespo says, 20 minutes in, if it's not holding me, I'll just back out.
Yeah, that's easy to do. You're just like, all right, move on to something else then. Yeah, exactly.
I very rarely do I turn things off.
But for it to work, you'd have to have a huge name. That way, your name alone.
Like this guy.
Like Quentin Tarantino's next movie.
He could do that.
He could do no trailer and just be like, it's his final movie. Yep. And then it would be successful.
It would help it, actually, I think.
Yeah, because people will be so curious. What is this movie? It would be a weird, especially since Tarantino, his next movie is supposed to be his last movie. It's supposed to be his 10th film. Yeah. I think it's technically his 11th, but he's calling it his 10th, and then he's calling it quits. Movie-wise, he'll probably make a TV show. He's definitely going to release more books, because he has 2 books out already. He's got his podcast. He's got all sorts of stuff. He wants to do a play. He's ridiculous.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Chris, let me ask you about a movie coming out. It's probably on your list already, but
sure.
I was looking of like, all right, let's see what the release is 2024, and I saw this movie, and it doesn't have. Speaking of a trailer that doesn't explain much, it's just a teaser trailer. And,
Ooh, Terrifier 3.
And no, it's Adam Sandler in a spacesuit, and the movie Spaceman. And the trailer,
I've not seen this.
You have not seen this?
It must be. It's probably a Netflix movie, right?
It's a Netflix.
He still has a Netflix deal.
I have seen a still. I have not seen the trailer. I've seen the picture you're referencing.
Yeah, well, the trailer is literally just the picture, but it's like animated picture. It's just him standing there, and then a voice, like basically like,
hello, Schwan. Right?
Yeah. Extra sloppy. It's ridiculous.
Oh my god!
But it's
all make fun of you. They'll all make fun of. What is it? They'll all laugh at you.
Yeah.
He's in a spacesuit. He's in some sort. He's standing in water in a
Worcester, $1.25, please.
So I don't.
That's Fatty McGee.
I actually like Adam Sandler in more serious roles,
in Anger
Punch Drunk
Management.
Love.
Or was it Anger Management? No. It was
Anger Management with Jack Nicholson.
And Punch Drunk Love.
Punch Drunk Love. I love Punch Drunk Love.
Punch Drunk Love was specifically written for that role, right?
Yes, I think it was written for him. Yeah, because it's like it plays with his sort of man-child thing that he does.
That's the pudding one, right?
Yeah, the pudding one.
That's a great movie.
And that's based on a true story of someone who really bought a bunch of pudding to get a bunch of all the flyer miles that was coming with the pudding.
Snack
he found
packs.
a loophole. Yeah, all the snack packs. Yeah. That was like based on a true story, that part anyway. Yeah, Sandler is very interesting. And that Netflix deal that he worked out, he was like one of the first ones to sign exclusively with Netflix, like a huge $100 million deal. And it must be working out great for Netflix because I think he re-signed that thing twice now, and he's just cranking out movies for them. Less marketing. He doesn't have to worry about red carpet premieres. He hates all that stuff. Less interviews. They just put the movie out and it finds its audience. He has that animated one, Leo, I think it's called.
It is Leo.
I've been hearing people talk about it in my life. Like, oh, have you seen this Leo movie? Like, I'm surprised how things penetrate, especially on Netflix. There's so many things. How do people all gravitate to one thing? But I think Sandler still has that juice. People find out, oh, it's an animated movie, but Adam Sandler is the old lizard giving the advice. I'll watch it.
I can't trust anybody that has any adult that has a Sid haircut. Sid from Toy Story, the bad guy. Sandler, Tim Robbins from I Think You Should Leave.
Tim Robinson,
Tim Robinson, not Tim Robbins. Tim Robinson. Anybody that has just, what is this? It's like they just give me the buzz cut and I'll go about my day. I can't trust you.
Also, he dresses like a slob.
He dresses like a slob.
He wears long and one basketball shorts.
I don't dress like a slob. But close.
But no,
he dresses like a slob.
He dresses like a slob.
He dresses like a slob.
I don't know who cares, but for whatever reason, it's just come on,
straighten up.
Show a little respect for yourself.
Your shorts are too long.
You're at the effing Kennedy Center honors, and you're wearing and one. I'll slap those
surrounded
right
by people in suits and tuxes.
Wear a pair of loafers.
But also
put your tie on, you idiot.
Like those long shorts were like a '90s staple of the shorts.
Go with what you know.
Well, they're back.
Yeah. The long ones?
90s are back. Baggy clothes are back. Baggy clothes are fully back with the utes.
The stuff that Maisie is wearing right now is making me so mad because it's basically the way I used to dress. It's all the way I used to dress.
Now I know how my parents felt in the 90s. I was obsessed with 70s stuff. I wanted to wear bell bottoms. I was listening to Jimi Hendrix. My mom must have thought this kid stealing from my high school
look at
years.
you now.
Look at me now.
Yeah, look at him now.
Does Maisie actually know what fashion and stuff like that?
It's different for the ladies.
Can Maisie name 3 Nirvana songs?
No.
Does she have any Nirvana shirts?
She doesn't like rock and roll.
Oh, okay.
All right. She only likes hip hop and pop music.
Back to movies, Chris.
Back to movies.
What do we got next?
All right. Well, I got my list of movies here. Just bringing up just because I heard you mention it last week. I can't remember which show. The Bob Marley movie. Yeah, it's coming out in February. I think that looks super interesting because it's about, Dan, you mentioned it. It's about the assassination attempt on Bob Marley's life and when they tried to kill him and then whoever else was in his house at the time. They shot his wife in the head point blank and she lived. Spoiler alert. History spoilers. This story
I did not know that.
This story is incredible.
It's basically a commercial for weed. If you're relaxed enough.
You'll survive a headshot.
That's not even funny. That's not even silly.
Who tried to assassinate Bob Marley?
I forget. I thought it was politically motivated, and I think it was in Jamaica.
Yes, fully. It was fully political. It was a very tense time in Jamaica in the 70s where there was two political parties. Sounds kind of familiar.
They were warring.
Yeah, they were literally warring. The political parties were recruiting street gangs and like gang leaders, and they were in the streets with guns fighting with each other over their political beliefs. And Bob Marley was staying neutral. He wanted to stay apolitical, and he wanted to put on a peace concert to bring everyone together. But then when they found out about the peace concert, the government, who's, one party is controlling the government, they tried to co-opt the peace concert and say, see, Bob Marley's with us. This is our peace concert. That made the other side mad.
Yeah.
And they raided his house in the middle of the night and shot the place up and tried to kill him, his wife, his band, and everyone. And then they had to leave Jamaica that night, came back a few days later to do the concert, never went back to Jamaica after that. And then he wrote the album Exodus because that was his exodus from Jamaica.
Okay,
and that's a classic, amazing album. It's an incredible, incredible story. There's a cool Who Shot the Sheriff hour-long documentary on Netflix about it that really breaks down very interestingly. And then I read a book about it. It's more of a historical fiction account, but it's really fascinating how all that stuff went
down. Kind of go through that a little bit in Legend when I read that as a
for sure man. Yeah, it's obviously a huge part of his life. Someone tries to kill you and your family and everything. Just for putting on a peace concert.
I mean, you'll leave Jamaica, but you won't get that cancer cut out of your toe.
Yeah, boy.
The one political party that tried to use Bob Marley as a marketing towards their side. I wonder if they felt bad when the other side tried to kill him and his whole family. They're like,
I don't know if the government feels bad.
He wanted to stay neutral, and he didn't want nothing to do with
it.
Concert. And you're like, Bob Marley's with us. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to kill him and everybody. And then they're like, oh.
Crazy.
Man.
Yeah.
It's pretty much our fault. It's our fault that happened.
Yeah, pretty wild. So I do like biopics where they do this, where instead of doing, they call it womb to tomb. Like the Ray one is like, here's his entire life and here's how he wrote this song. I like when it's just, here's a small segment of a person's life and then we'll just tell that story.
You can do it better, I think. Yeah,
with
what you're saying with that horribly disrespectful womb to tomb thing. That's disgusting.
That's a crazy name. Yeah.
But
that's what it's called though. That's what you call that style. Womb to tomb is a style biopic.
That reminded me of a womb broom, which is a mustache.
And that reminded me of Rooms to Go, and then I thought to myself, suddenly, is there a wombs to go? And there's not.
That's a maternity ward at the hospital.
What else you got? Quick.
In March, we have Dune Part 2 is going to be the first kind of big movie of 2024. Dune dos Dune.
Yeah, dos Dune.
Yeah.
So this is Dune 2?
Dune 2.
I gotta watch.
Which is the second half of the book.
I gotta watch Doom. But the first Dune.
Okay.
Not Doom.
I kind of went into Doom, but I meant Dune.
Stay away from Doom.
I gotta watch Dune, but it would be very hard for me to have space sex with that little thing in my nose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It would be. Especially that thing's supposed to be collecting moisture, And you're also having sex.
And then I wondered the whole time.
I'd cough that thing out.
Then I was watching some trailers of Dune, and then I was like, yeah, like those actors had to have that thing in their nose the whole time.
Yeah,
right?
it's a practical thing that they just. I mean, it doesn't really work, but yeah, they have to walk around with that plastic in their face.
You got to have the thing in.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, you should be paid extra if you got to walk around with a plastic thing in your nose.
Especially they shot it in Jordan, I think, in the desert. So so it's like 100 degrees out there, and they're walking around in full body suits with plastic up their noses. They better have gotten extra.
Yeah,
for
man.
Sure. That's why they went on strike.
And Dune is loosely tied to Star Wars in some way.
Well, Star Wars is like
talk about the spice.
Star Wars, pretty much any science fiction after 1970 is influenced by Dune. So Star Wars is very much like they took Dune and then they mixed that up with like samurai movies and westerns of the 30s and 40s, and that's how you get Star Wars. That's how you get space wizards. A lot of things that you see in science fiction, if you watch or read Dune, you'll be like, oh, this is just like that movie or that TV show. It's because Dune is actually like the original text that they're all stealing from, essentially.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
So that's why it feels Star Warsy, because Star Wars ripped off Dune.
So is Dune, okay, follow me here. Okay. Is Dune to like Tolkien? In that realm, like
yeah, because Tolkien set so much of the language of fantasy, absolutely,
right? Because Tolkien in fantasy world, like there's always been orcs and giants and trolls and all this kind of stuff.
Giant trees. Every time I see a giant talking tree, I think Tolkien right away.
So there's always going to be one guy that kind of like this guy was the master of all masters, and everybody else kind of like
There's like one guy that came up with the zombie story, and then everyone ripped that off. That's Richard Matheson. I mean, it just goes on and on like that. Yeah, absolutely. So Dune will be fun.
And Dune looks good.
Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet. Zendaya's gonna have a much bigger role in this one. It's actually more her character's movie, so that'll be interesting. It's got a great cast. Dave Bautista. One of the craziest casting decisions is Christopher Walken as like the big emperor. So it's a small role, but it's still Christopher Walken. So when I see him in the trailer, I want to love this movie and take it seriously, but then I see him like, it's Christopher Walken. What are we doing? The space walking.
He's become almost too big to play roles because he's almost
he flew too
pop
close to the comedy
icon.
Side.
Yeah.
So many people do the Walken, and then you see him, you can't.
Nazi Walken.
You can't believe
you're like
he's
more
another
cowbell
character.
And you don't want to do that.
I'm expecting him to tell Paul Atreides, I want more cowbell.
The only thing I saw in Dune, because I haven't seen it, but I do remember there looking like there was like a tribunal of people around this one guy that was like a big fat guy floating, and he was like a greasy fat guy floating in the sky.
Yeah, that's Stellan Skarsgård playing like the main bad guy. The Harkonnens are the bad guys, and he's a big white gross dude. And when he gets a report, he goes, "Very good."
That's all he says? Oh, I like that.
Those are his first lines. Those are his first. They're the first line of the movie.
Also, Timothy Chalamet quietly becoming huge.
Mega.
I mean, with Wonka, the success of Wonka.
Wonka's at $500 million global. It just crossed 180. People must love it because it is cranking out money over the last 5 years. Not yet. I'm not a big musical fan.
Yeah, I have non-movie friends that are like, oh my God, I just saw Wonka. And they'll say things like, it was so moving. I was like, wow. I'm sorry, what?
Well, it's from the writer and director of Paddington and Paddington 2. And those are also movies that people love.
Paddington slap.
Yeah,
that's a great movie.
Put Paddington 2 up there with like it's a new modern classic, that movie.
The Paddington movies were great.
Yeah, so it's the same writer-director, Paul King, so I'm not surprised that it's getting a lot of good word of mouth. So Chalamet is really going to have a great year between Wonka and Dune and all that for sure.
Yeah, chat room, a lot of love for Wonka.
Yeah. Absolutely. We got a Roadhouse remake coming out in March also, which
yes.
On the I'm really looking forward to Dune, Roadhouse. My expectations are lower.
Highly anticipated though, because I remember when they were filming a lot of the scenes
at the MMA, right?
Yeah, you had Jake Gyllenhaal in the actual MMA world, like navigating scenes filmed last year,
2 years ago,
2 years ago or so.
Yeah. That always it's funny because like now you can't keep anything a secret for the most part. And there's someone filming them filming, right? Whether it's like spectators or someone on set or whatever, and then that gets released, and it's so long ago that they're like, oh, this is happening. So then you're like, oh, when is a new Roadhouse coming out? Like, oh, like 2.5 years from now.
Yeah.
And then so because of that, it seems to spoil it a little bit, where it's
the
like
surprise of it. Like, cool, there's a Roadhouse movie.
And
for
anybody that suffers from time anxiety, like me. Like, I have a hard time watching things if I feel like they're not going to mean the same thing to me now that they would have if I'd seen them when they first came out, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, if, let's say, the Roadhouse movie, they're saying, like, oh, yeah, this was filmed 2.5 years ago. To me, the way that I live my life, I'm like, 2.5 years ago when this was filmed, I was a different person. Like, seriously, that's how I feel.
It is a weird thing, though.
Like,
you're right.
I'm such a weirdo that when you tell me that, it was better to keep that a lie to me or, like, just, like, leave it as something I had to assume. Because now that you're telling me that, I'm like, well, I'm not going to see Roadhouse. Oh, that's 2.5 years worth of
why are you going to show me this old thing?
Information.
Yeah. It's like when they did the last Bond movie, No Time to Die, there was like a 1.5, 2 year delay. It was because of COVID. It got delayed because of COVID, like a full 1.5 years, the release of the last Bond. And then when they were finally ready, okay, we can put this out in theaters now, they had to go back and CG change his watches, change like all this different promotional cross branding they had in the movie, and they had to CG everything and change it because everything was old. They were like showing old models of things that companies were trying to sell, and they had to change everything for the updated release.
I wonder if that's why a lot of us are gravitating to, now follow me with this, they say that, I forget who was complaining over the weekend. I think it was Kevin Smith was complaining over the weekend about how, he is complaining because he's selling a lot of stuff to try and keep his theater afloat.
Oh, interesting.
The Smod Castle theater that he bought.
Okay.
And he's saying, after the pandemic, theaters, we're trying to bounce back, but it's nowhere near where it was.
Yeah.
And he's kind of complaining about that. I wonder if, since that, we are kind of gravitating to, we are looking for that thing that's fresh and new, right? So what's taking up a lot of our time? Like that quick stuff, like Mr. Beast and these things that can, like the turnaround is micro turnarounds,
Yeah.
Like
Not
I wonder,
as produced.
I wonder if you can
shorter.
Yeah, like if you can, like the sweet spot would be able to turn around. Like how quickly can you turn around a movie but make it quality?
I would say 6 months tops. That's the quickest you can turn it. It's impossible. Making movies is impossible already. It's a miracle they even get made, let alone that any of them are any good. Like, movies are super hard. An example of a quick turnaround, Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise's Days of Thunder. I just did an episode on this a couple months ago.
DeLand, Florida.
Yeah, shot in Daytona.
Yeah.
And DeLand, they conceived the script and wrote it in December of 91, and the movie was out July of 92. They were editing it up until a month. No, they started editing a month before the release date. They had to crank this thing through, and it was also a troubled production because of mostly cocaine. But it still turned out to be a pretty good movie.
Oh my God,
turned out pretty good.
I remember the horror on my dad's face when he went to one of the shootings in DeLand, and he realized that for a lot of the romance scenes that old Tom Cruise had to stand on an apple crate.
Either that or Nicole Kidman would have to. They would dig a hole. They would also dig a hole sometimes for Kidman, and she was standing in a hole.
And my dad, I think my dad saw that, was like, and my dad, I'm like, Dad, you're shorter than him. Well, it didn't matter. It was just a man. It was just a man being weak.
Sure.
Also, if you think, I've talked to lots of people about the amount of time and how much production goes into a regular, like even TV show, right? Like even Brendan, when we're talking about shooting a show, and we've seen this before where we've even been involved, where you go to shoot something in pro and it takes a while. Yeah. Like they're putting in stand-ins to get the lighting. We're talking hours and hours
just
per
to get
minute.
The light right.
And then the editing process where they say for every minute or second of editing is 1 hour, whatever the equation is. And so it's gotten so produced and so big, and then there's so many unions involved, and everybody's got to get their piece. And then we've seen the internet and Mr. Beast and other content creators just lightning fast, and they're just like, put GoPros and everything and just turn it and burn it fast.
Yeah.
And then you're seeing the numbers these people get, and then my sons are glued to the TV, and even I'm watching Mr. Beast.
I watch it.
Good enough. The production. I mean, they're not going above and beyond. They're getting it out. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. But it's like if you just go from pure numbers, right? It's like, well, these people are doing it fast and they're getting better numbers. So what do people want? And it's like it seems like they kind of gravitating towards a faster, just get it out. They're watching it. It's not as good. I guess let's say I'm putting it because that's subjective, but it's. More people are watching it, and that's the name of the game when it comes to making money or anything.
Yeah. Get your eyes on it.
And so I wonder if that's going to change how things are done, and they're going to stop putting so much time and effort into a lot of this stuff.
Well, for sure, people are always looking to save money, right? Yeah. Obviously, there's a big deal with VFX companies and animators. They're the newest ones, for the last few years now, fighting for proper compensation for all the work. They're often asked work overtime for less compensation and to crank out all of this CG or whatever in a short amount of time, and then it comes out and people are like, these Marvel movies look like crap, and then they're like, well, they gave me 2 months to do something that should have taken me 6, or something like that.
Joe
and
Coy
so they can
only
save
got
money.
10 days.
You only got 10 days and 2 writers.
Only got 10 days.
What was the Joe Coy controversy? I didn't watch.
It wasn't. I don't even think it was controversy.
Not really a controversy.
It was an award show.
They criticized his hosting.
Yeah, he hosted the Golden Globes. He took the job 10 days ahead of time because it's a bad job to take. He should have said no.
Was it bad?
Well, his monologue stunk. It was not funny.
I watched it. It wasn't funny. But
it wasn't offensive. I think people are getting mixed up. No one was offended at his jokes.
No.
They were just bad, hacky jokes. They were not funny. And then people didn't laugh in the room. And then first off, during the monologue, he threw his writers under the bus. He was like, look, I got this job 10 days ago. My writers wrote these jokes. These are the jokes you're getting, okay? So it was like a rookie move to get that defensive on stage.
That's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, he got mad at the crowd for not laughing at his jokes.
The first thing I read, I just closed my laptop. I'm like, well, you don't do that.
Yeah, close the laptop, push it away. I don't want to see any of this anymore. And then since then, John Mulaney hosted the Governor's Award, which is an Oscars-related thing. Chelsea Handler just did a show the other night, and now their best jokes are circulating on social media as to say, look, Joe Coy, you can make funny jokes about movies and about the industry, and people are going to laugh.
Chelsea Handler dating Joe Coy?
They were exes. And then she had a joke about...
they're not together anymore.
I don't think they're not together anymore. And then she had a joke where, like, she said a joke, it hit in the room, and then she said, thank you, my writers wrote that, as a dig at Joe Coy, and everyone laughed at that.
Oh, get him.
Yeah.
It's
pretty funny.
What are you doing?
It's not really controversial. It's just, he did a bad job, and now he's, like, being defensive about it, and threw his writers under the bus.
Why even do... Like, if you're Joe Coy, why even take that job?
Because it's big.
Because people before didn't know who he was, and there was a chance that they would be like, "Oh, now I know who he is and I like him." Yeah. But it said the opposite worked, where now I know who he is and he stinks.
But he's already at the point where he's doing huge.
He's doing arenas.
He's fine.
He's doing arenas. Huge. I mean, clearly
there's a reason why they asked him to host the gig. You know, it was the first year the Golden Globes were going to be on CBS, and the ratings for it went up 50% over the last couple of years.
The worst part to me wasn't even the jokes. Like, it was just nobody seemed to. Maybe you do need somebody that they know, these dumb celebrities, because what really hurt me as an emotional person watching it, right, like where it got my hair standing up, was he goes, "We're here, yes, we're doing it, look around this room, look who's here, look at everybody here, look around this room, oh, we're so excited to be here." And that's what made me uncomfortable. It was like that.
He was pushing it that hard?
He was talking about how exciting it was, and look at us, and look at how happy we are to be here, and this is so exciting, and not one person said one effing word. They all hung him out to dry. It was weird.
That was weird.
It was a weird energy.
It's an audience filled with celebrities, which is the worst audience I've heard from like other people that have hosted these kind of things.
Talk about people in the world.
Yeah. They're disinterested. They're all distracted by everything.
They care about themselves.
They're all drinking and eating.
Yeah.
They're happy to be sitting at a table with other celebrities that they may be meeting for their first time. Like, oh my God, that's Will Ferrell. So they don't care about the comedian on stage making their dumb jokes.
Stop them. Just stop doing them.
And then on top of that, the jokes were just bad. Like, no one can read these jokes and then tell me that they're good. They're literally like not good jokes. What are you going to do?
But he should have not,
But now you should have got defensive about it.
Yeah, don't get defensive about it. Just chalk it up as any other stand-up you did. You were at the Golden Globes. Now a bunch of people know who you are.
Yeah.
And then just carry on because you're fine.
Yeah.
It's not going to do anything to you.
Yes, and stop doing interviews days afterwards and continuing to, the dude needs to relax about it. That's all.
Yeah,
it's going to be forgotten in 2 months.
It would have been so much easier if he had two things. Don't blame your writers and just own it. Just be like, wow, that stunk. And hey, was glad I could do it.
I'll be at the Laugh Factory next week in San Francisco. See me there.
Just move on. You've only got a million more shows to do, Joe.
Yeah, he blew it. Anyway, so that's the whole thing with that. It's really no big deal.
What else you got for movies? You got maybe one or two more?
Yeah, sure. In May, the movie of the summer I'm looking forward to most is probably the Mad Max sequel. Actually, a prequel. Furiosa is coming out in Memorial Day weekend.
Suspicioso.
I
have never seen
Furiosa Suspicioso. So I've
never seen the original with old.
You haven't seen Fury Road?
No.
You mean the one that came out
because as soon
10 years ago?
I asked my wife. I said, "Is Charlize Theron nude like she is in The Devil's Advocate, where she walks out with a piece of broken glass, fully nude bush?" And my wife said, "No, she doesn't do that in this." I'm like, "I'm not in that."
Well, she got one arm, so that's pretty good.
Oh, that's pretty good.
She does have one arm. Yeah, you can see her nude in Monster if you want to see her nude.
Okay.
Yeah,
but I
do love me. I'll go watch it because I want to see the new one. It's just something I missed.
Yeah. Mad Max is a pretty incredible movie. I mean, one of my personal favorites. Of the 21st century, probably, and a lot of people love it. It was kind of a surprise hit how big it was, and George Miller, he's another guy like Miyazaki who's in his early 80s. He's like 81, 82, and he's making these high-octane, insane action movies now, which is crazy. But this is a prequel about Charlize Theron's character, but being played by Anya Taylor-Joy. And I think that's partially because Charlize Theron had such a terrible experience making Fury Road. That was a hard experience for everyone making that movie, because people, for some reason, didn't trust the director that much, George Miller. And he just had... That movie's a 2-hour chase scene, right? So he just had people in cars and trucks and motorcycles. They were in the desert in Tunisia, and he was just like, all right, drive 2 hours in that direction and we'll film stuff. And he was yelling at them different directions. Like, do this, do that, make this face. And they didn't know how it was all coming together as a movie or a story. And they thought their director was just insane and making a piece of crap.
I don't know. I don't know. How old is he? Is he in his 80s? Just trust the guy.
Just trust the guy. Yeah. He's made a bunch of good movies. I was shocked when I heard about this, but they were like, this is going to be a bad movie. They were just going 2 hours in the desert that way, then turn around 2 hours that way, back and forth.
anyway, like just to drive around and get like, whoa!
Yeah, and these crazy monster Franken cars that they made. So then the movie comes out and it's incredible. Everyone loves it. Yeah. And you can find there's press conferences of Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron publicly apologizing to George Miller for not trusting him. This movie's great. Thank you so much for including me in this, blah, blah. But they all had a miserable experience, which is probably why this is a whole new cast, even though it's reusing some of the same characters from Fury Road.
I hate that. I wish that I like it when they can continue the cast.
I like the consistency as well, but Anya Taylor-Joy is a fantastic actress, probably most known now for Queen's Gambit.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe The Menu. That was a kind of a popular movie a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah, I remember
that very fine one, yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. The trailer is to go back to what we were talking about in the beginning of the show, the trailer for that movie is incredible. Like it freaks me out how good it looks, because in my mind I'm like, there's no way it can be as good as Fury Road. Fury Road in my mind is so built up, like a sequel to it or a prequel is going to fall short. But then I see the trailer and I start tricking myself, like, oh, what if it's better?
Now, if they do a third, they bring in Lady Gaga to be the Tina Turner.
Oh, man, Auntie Entity.
Right, don't we need another weirdo, like, fighting dome with a singing announcing lady?
A singing announcing lady, and she's got, like, some dude in a sumo outfit playing saxophone. Oh, man.
I remember
Mad Max 3 is wild.
I remember watching that with my dad and then understanding that. I remember me and my dad looking at each other and looking at Tina Turner, and we understood. You know what I mean? Like, it was a moment. You'll have it with your boys where me and dad looked at each other, and we were like, fur and and I'm like, yeah.
She is awesome in that movie. She's the best part of that movie.
Best part of the movie.
Yeah, she's the best part of that
movie. And the
movie.
fact that it even happened is weird and cool.
Yeah.
I'm about to say something that I shouldn't.
Oh, yes.
Here we go. Let's start recording.
I love these.
And it's going to make a lot of people think differently of me. I hope my son...
Should I write this down? Sure. Is this award...
Award-worthy?
In Fury Road, there is... the movie's been out long enough.
Long enough.
Yeah.
The head bad guy, I call him Pigman.
Wait a minute. You call me Pigman?
He looks like a space pig man.
Yeah, like Space Pig. And he drives the monster truck, and he's the leader, right?
Yeah.
And he's got a harem of women, which is part of the plot. They escape. He has to chase them.
Yeah, they're trying to get him out. Yeah,
Charlize is one of them.
Oh.
And there's also a bunch of others.
So he has a one-arm lady in his harem?
Yeah. And then there's other...
kick the one-arm ones out.
And then all the harem are very good-looking women.
Extremely good-looking.
Yeah, like models.
And it's like Rosie Huntington-Whiteley and what isn't it Zoe Kravitz, I think?
Oh, my God.
And then one of them's pregnant, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, from him?
Yeah.
With a pig baby?
Okay,
that's the point. That's why he has them, because he's trying to make a progeny.
Yeah. He's trying to make...
He's making a pig army?
Yeah.
Why haven't I watched this movie?
Here he has a little tiny pig man in a chair, and he's got a big one.
I'm a tiny pig man in a chair.
Yeah.
What's happening? I gotta go watch this movie.
He puts a tiny pig man on binocular duty.
Wait a minute. You put me on binocular duty. What's happening? It's like Inception. The whole world is crumbling around me.
And so then all I can think about is Pigman.
Yeah.
Doing
I'm in your head.
Smushing these ladies.
I'm in your head.
Doing it
I'm in your head.
with these.
I'm living rent-free in your head.
His harem.
Pumping the harem.
And then I'm like, what would that look like?
Oh, you know
it would be terrible.
Like.
And then I get horny.
Now, that was a twist I was not ready for.
So that's the part.
That was the part.
That's the part I don't want anybody to hear.
You were supposed to leave, and then he was supposed to say that.
And then I'm like, did someone animate this somewhere? Is there some sort of, I don't know how to work Reddit, so I can't find it.
There has to be /fiction out there.
I can't. I tried to search Pigman.
It's there. I'm in a group called Why Do These People Have Art Supplies?
All right.
And if you need it, you just tell them what you want. They'll draw it.
All right. I'm going to...
Oh, there you go.
Wow. It's terrible.
I'll text you later.
It's terrible.
That's not wild.
All right, one more.
All right, last one. Probably the biggest movie of the summer. I'm looking forward to that one most, but the biggest one will probably be Deadpool 3. Only Marvel movie coming out this year, and then it's also... obviously a sequel to the Deadpool movies, which are both huge hits, and then it's gonna be a big deal because it's gonna wrap in a lot of stuff from all those X-Men movies that they've been making for years. It's wrapping everything up into one codified universe now. It's gonna be very meta because that's what Deadpool does.
When can
Hugh Jackman's gonna be in it as Wolverine.
Can I watch? Okay, am I gonna be, as a non-Marvel man, am I gonna be able to catch up with Deadpool 2, which I haven't seen?
Sure.
And then watch this one, enjoy it, and then kind of tie a bow on all the stuff that I missed?
Yeah, I think so, because a lot of stuff that's been happening Marvel-wise since the Avengers movie doesn't really tie into too much to, like, Deadpool's world and what he does. I think the Deadpool movie, the main thing of that is it's going to be folding in the mutants and all the X-Men characters, because when Disney bought Fox, they bought all the rights to those characters. They got those rights back for Marvel. So that's why now Hugh Jackman's going to be reprising Wolverine, but like a different version or some nonsense like that, comic book nonsense. But it's going to be a big deal. Might end up making $750 million to $1 billion.
I saw him in the famous yellow suit.
Yeah, the yellow suit. Yeah. There's pictures of him online of him walking around with the yellow suit. And then I also saw another spy photo where Ryan Reynolds hates this, but whatever. There's a photo footage of them doing a stunt of Wolverine throwing Deadpool, and Deadpool goes flying through flying through a giant. Remember the 20th Century Fox logo that starts a movie?
Yeah.
It says 20th Century Fox. It has the spotlights. There's like a giant one that they built, and Deadpool gets thrown through this logo. So they're for sure like going into the Fox like literally the movies themselves, and getting all meta and weird with it. And they're going to throw enough of that stuff in the marketing that's going to get people really interested in all this superhero fatigue. They'll fight through that to get Deadpool into a hit. Also helps that's the only Marvel movie coming out this year, so people are getting a bit of a break on all that stuff anyway.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I wonder if this is a result of that fatigue and then them announcing that there's too much, and even like Disney came out and said that there's too much, so they're pulling back.
Sure, they definitely pulled back on Star Wars stuff, and it's a combination of them being like, we need to readjust a bit, and then also those the strikes, the writer strike, the SAG strike, again, messed a lot of scheduling up. So there was supposed to be, I think, a Fantastic Four movie that got pushed to next year, and the third Marvel movie got pushed to 2025. So 2025, we're going to be back with like one every other month almost. But this year coming up, it's a nice break. Only the Deadpool one. And also Deadpool's going to be Marvel's first R-rated movie. So we'll see what that looks like.
Boobs.
Yeah. Hopefully. Well, I mean, we'll see.
Right, yeah.
We'll see.
Again, Cinema Crespediso. If you want to hear more Chris Crespo on his podcast.
Yes,
Chris, thanks so much for coming
always
in.
a pleasure seeing you, man.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. Patreon.com/Crespediso. Find me there twice a week.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, we will be right back. Welcome back to A Corporate Time. Right now in studio to talk about Science on Tap happening on Saturday. We're all going to be out there. Use promo code Tom and Dan 50 for $10 off your tickets. So when you check out and buy your tickets at osc.org.
We call it the Fancy Beer Fest. It is Science on Tap. And we got Jeff and Brian from 1010 Brewing from the Orlando Science Center, and they are on the Big Red Couch. What's going on, guys?
Hey, good to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you guys. Very good to see you.
So, Jeff, let's start, before we start drinking beer, because that's
he couldn't even make it. No, I'm joking. He was not. He's a good man.
Let's talk about this beer fest. We were all out at the beer fest last year.
I can't wait.
You do an amazing job. I mean, it's a super high quality beer fest. Let's talk about some of the things going on.
Yeah, it is going to be a great event. We love this event. It's outside in Lock Haven Park. Going to run from 1 to 4 p.m. If you get the VIP ticket, you get to come in a little earlier, get 2 full pours.
Nice.
But you get a chance to sample beers from 30 incredible breweries. We love our local craft beer scene. And in addition to beer, there is some lawn games. We'll have Spencer and his team will be out there doing all kinds of cool hands-on science stuff, do giant foam explosions.
Yeah, they're fun.
That's always very cool. Going to have some music. Going to get to hang with good people like you guys. Have food trucks, like with our friends from Cholo Dogs and a bunch of others.
Man, you got some big hitters in there too. Cholo's a huge hitter. I saw Red Panda Noodle on there.
Yes.
I don't know how you got Red Panda. That is literally the most popular food truck I've ever seen right now. Like hot. Spicy hot. Like everybody wants Red Panda, and you got them. Yeah. So that's where I'm going to be.
I also like, Jeff, the encourage kids to come too.
Yes.
Kids under 16 are free. Yeah. So
that's really nice.
Parents can bring your kids and your teenage kids to enjoy the stuff that the Science Center has to offer.
You can get a designated driver ticket if needs be, and so you can walk around and still be part of the fun and everything, but still do it in a safe way.
And we've got some great raffle prizes. Land Rover is our sponsor this year. Land Rover is giving away an all-expenses-paid trip to the Land Rover Experience in Vermont. And you just buy your ticket to Science on Tap, come on in, and sign up to try to win. You don't have to buy a raffle ticket.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the Land Rover Experience in Vermont.
Yeah.
Sounds very doesn't it? It sounds like very, very fancy.
Grey Poupon is extra, but everything else is right
super
included.
Fancy.
And Jeff, I could win this, correct? If I, technically, because I've always wanted to go to Vermont and win Land Rover.
He talks about it all the time.
May the odds be ever in your favor, Tom.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, anyone can win.
I want one of our listeners to win the Vermont thing, man. That would be amazing.
Yeah. So Brian's here from 1010 Brewing.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, how are you?
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, great to see you guys, too. Thanks for having us.
Oh, man, thanks for being here. And please give everybody at 1010, if you haven't been to 1010 Brewery or Brewing, I don't want to say it right because beer guys. Are you guys the beer guys that are picky about whether it's brewing or brewery or brewing?
As long as you're talking about us, we're happy.
That's what I thought. But some people they like you got to get it right.
Yeah.
And Tom and I are not the worst thing you could have done with us with something that we love like beer is to say okay, in the future craft beer is going to be super popular and there's going to be a line in the sand drawn and you're going to have to choose with your beer partners of saying brewing or brewery and you're going to mess it up every time. Guaranteed. If it's brewing, you're going to go brewery. And if it's brewery, you're going to go brewing. And then you're going to see it in the owner's eyes every time he's on the couch.
And you may think no one will care if they do care.
They do care. They care because it's disrespectful. It's as disrespectful as inviting a guest in and then getting their last name wrong. I'm very glad that you're on our couch, Tom Honks. Tom Honks. It's Tom Honks. You know him.
Yeah, but I feel
the big actor, Tom Honks.
If someone called our show a radio show instead of a podcast or vice versa, I'm saying it's all the same.
Dead to me.
Talk, audio, call us anything.
Dead to me.
A show?
No.
Just whatever. Tom and Dad.
I like patio.
Brian, so
I'm with Tom on that one.
Let's talk about.
It's only about
as long as they're talking about us, it's fine.
It's about the taste of the beer and a handmade hot dog is what it's about. That's what it's about.
It is.
Man, I love fresh beer.
You haven't been drinking
so
fresh
good.
beer.
What do we got here, Brian?
All right,
Did
first
you just
up.
crank your motorcycle? What is that? I thought he had one sniff of beer. This guy started cranking his Harley. He's about to ride out of here. All right, what is it?
All right, so first up we have East West. It's kind of our flagship beer. It's kind of one everybody knows us by. It's a very well-balanced IPA.
I know this beer so well.
Yeah, most people do. 7% Centennial Citra hops. And again, just balanced, approachable. It's just something everybody can drink.
Yeah, this is
big fan.
Always on?
Always on, unless sometimes during the holidays things get a little crazy and it's off for a day or two, but almost always on.
I think this is one of the first beers I ever had that was truly a 1010 beer.
It's going to be real nice, too, because this cold front's coming in, so it's going to be nice and cold on Saturday. And when I say cold, it's Florida cold.
Yeah, brisk. Not too cold.
It's like that.
But it's hoodie weather.
Good beer drinking weather.
Nobody watches commercials on this show except for me, but there is a commercial about it being 50 degrees outside. There's a guy bundled up, but he's out there just getting the vibes. That's me. I like it. Because we don't get 55 degrees, that's cold.
Yeah.
That's pretty cold.
But it's good hoodie and jean weather in Florida outside. When you're wearing hoodie and jeans outside in Florida, it's a good day. And then you're drinking some beer at a beer fest.
Hoodie and jeans would be a good, a two-person comedy team.
Yeah. I'm jeans.
No, hoodie. I got it. Got so many jokes I'm not going to make.
So, Brian, how many different beers are you guys sampling out at the Beer Fest?
We're doing two beers on Saturday. We have this, and then if you guys want to try some too, I have some of the. And I know you guys just recently had it, but the Barney's White Christmas Stout.
That's a good beer, dude.
Such a good beer.
Yeah, that is an amazing beer, and you guys partner with a coffee company that I love. That I loved as that was the coffee company that got me into coffee, and I can't get the coffee. You can't. There's not as many Barney's available. Such a good coffee place, man. But Barney's is my coffee. I wasn't a Starbucks guy.
Yeah,
I was a Barney's dude.
And a little OSC trivia there.
Please.
Barney's coffee is what we serve at the coffee spot at Orlando Science Center.
We're bringing it full circle.
I love it.
Always coming back.
Yeah. I love that, man. Yeah, Barney's is better. I like it.
Can I tell you guys about the universe?
Yes.
And my theories
Are you going to pretend to be Spencer? All right.
Yeah.
Dumb Spencer.
So, because I was thinking about the universe today, because I knew the Science Center's coming in, Science on Tap this Saturday, and then it gets me thinking about science, right? So, I was reading an article about Venus. And I guess it's the second planet from the sun. Super hot. It's like 400 and some odd degrees Fahrenheit on the surface of Venus.
I'm your fire. What's your desire?
But then in the clouds above the surface, it's cooler temperatures up there. And there's speculation, although recently they've shot it down saying it's just rust. But they saw some like discoloration in the clouds, and they thought it was like microorganisms in the clouds of Venus. And because they're like,
just think that, or do they have like science to back? They're like,
well, they send probes there, which is crazy too, and they're sending another one soon.
Yeah,
where they're like literally putting like a probe inside the clouds of Venus
to check for microorganisms,
and then launching it back to Earth.
And what do we do if we find the microorganisms?
Well,
don't bring those things back. That's like fleas in a dog, right?
No, I've seen that movie. It doesn't end well.
Yes, it gets in the astronaut.
Yeah,
and isn't it called the astronaut? The movie?
Yeah, it's all kinds of craziness.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, dude.
So
you got to disinfect that thing before you let it come back.
And I guess scientists have theorized this because they know there's amino acids in these clouds of Venus, and then like amino acids are the central building block of life.
Amino acids are out. People are you know what people are into now? Peptides. That's what everybody's into, peptides now.
So
amino acids out, peptides in.
So this gets me further into, okay, if there's amino acids in the clouds of Venus, there's amino acids everywhere. There's life in the universe. It's got to be. Like statistically, it has to be.
Is this a weird nerd way of you being positive? You're like, there's life in the universe, dang it.
There's got to be, and because if it's in Venus, there's got to be millions of planets with life in it. All right, so this leads me even further because I read another article about how they're using AI a lot more in astronomy.
Yeah.
And to organize.
And it's making everything worse. It makes everybody with like 4 fingers.
You know, we're messing around with AI generated songs.
Well, we're just doing like the creative aspects of AI, right? I mean, I'm sure for definitive data, AI is a beast, and that's what it's supposed to do. But AI thrown at anything creative is just a little weird because it's trying to make something that's truly not analytical, and you can't do that.
So here's my theory, right?
Please.
Before I die in my lifetime, which who
of
knows
old
how
age?
long that, let's say max I got 60 years, which is
that's good.
You know, I mean
that's really
that's
good.
the top. That's the absolute.
But your pop-up lived that.
No, 90.
It's in the
90,
blood.
You know.
I mean, right? I mean, it's based on our history. Like Andrea's family.
50.
Andrea's family lives into their hundreds. All of my family dies in their 60s. I mean, I'm coming in for a landing. Some would say front wheel down.
So my theory being is that AI will, with a mathematical, I guess, prove with beyond a reasonable doubt,
with an equation of some sort,
with math, saying there's a mathematical probability of 99.9% that there is life. In the universe somewhere, based on because
you want it just to use what we know and say, well, of course these conditions are correct, so it's a almost 100% chance that there's life. You may not see it, but you just want the proof of it.
The math.
Damn, I hate it when I understand the dumb things you're talking about. And this is the thing that drives Samantha crazy. Happy anniversary, Sam. But Sam goes, "How did you get that from that?" I don't know. I just speak his language. Yeah, that's cool. I would accept that.
I'm not theorizing that we'll find it or prove.
That's
now
a different animal.
We could in Mars because, we could go down and drill into deeper into Mars and find some sort of ice that have some sort of microorganism and that's. But
what do you think of that, Jeff? Do you like his equation there?
Look, in the vast, infinite reaches of space, it is really hard to think that we're the best there is. There's got to be something.
Oh my God, we're the morning radio of organisms. We're like, in the world, you wanted the best. It's the best. Humans, we're it.
Tom and Dad, coming at you live in the infinity of space.
No matter what, number one.
But I think what we got to look at is. There's life, but is there life the way we perceive of life. I don't know if we're going to go on a planet and see Mr. Spock, but there's going to be, life, whether it's microorganisms or
because if I'm the epitome of life, right? If you look at what I do throughout the day, if I'm live, people are like, you are wasting so. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like you're right.
Intelligent life,
intelligent life or unintelligent life or just life aloof. Life that isn't living just to survive. I'm not living just to survive, I am, but I'm not.
There's a probability, because I watched the mushroom documentary on Netflix.
Every time you say that, I get confused. I think it's code for something horrible.
No, but there's a probability that the only reason that we are as intelligent as we are is because of mushrooms, and that somehow, caused our brains to evolve more rapidly into something more intelligent than would have been.
Okay.
Because it doesn't necessarily mean that all life needs to evolve into intelligent life.
Okay.
Because all life wants to live and reproduce. We know that is the standard thing that life always does is reproduce itself. But it doesn't have to be intelligent to reproduce. I mean, there's what is that thing called that looks like a bear that lives
tardigrade.
There we go. So, that thing has been around since the beginning of life.
It's hardcore.
And it's not evolved, it just lives.
Can we talk about that thing?
Tiny space bear.
We bring it up once a year. I think normally when Spencer's here. I don't like that thing.
No, not a fan of the tardigrade.
I think it's disgusting.
It is. It looks off-putting.
You know what reminds me? I'll tell you the origin story, and then you can draw your conclusions about whether or not you guys want to be my friend anymore. There's a creature called a sugar glider that was popular, about 10 years ago. Redneck. Every redneck I knew was bringing sugar gliders to their local biker bar, in their pocket.
In their pocket.
Yeah, in their pocket. Every biker woman in the greater Orlando, Daytona, DeLand area had a sugar glider in her leather vest pocket. So I'm meeting some of these sugar gliders. I'm around them, I'm meeting the bikers in their sugar gliders, and I went to this particular friend of mine in Daytona, and she had a sugar glider, and it was on the carpet, and it rolled over, and it sugar gliders to me, they have the body of that thing you guys are talking about.
Tardigrade.
A tardigrade, which I call a space bear. A space bear. It looks like a little space bear.
Yeah.
And then the sugar glider has like a hole in its stomach or near its anus or something. It's weird. It's got like a little hole that isn't its number 2 hole, and it's not its number 1, but it's like a little thing that pulses, and it's like a space bear hole. Like it's a weird like thing. And then I look at that, and then I look at the space bear, and I'm like, I don't need any of this. Just give me the standard dog cat. I'm a dog cat guy. I don't need space bears. I don't need what do they call Targaryen? What are you guys calling them? The
Tardigrade.
The Targaryens. From Game of Thrones. I don't need any of that. Just give me the standard, and give me a urethra and an anus. That's all I need.
We are really unpacking some stuff.
Again, Science on Tap this Saturday. Get your tickets. Tom and Dan 50 promo code $10 off.
Yeah, it's a $50 ticket.
Jeff, I've been waiting to tell you that I went to the DC and the Air and Space Museum.
I never know what he's going to say. He's like, Jeff, I've been waiting. I'm like,
I don't know. We just got done talking about tardigrade parts.
Yeah. So, what is he going to say?
And I had to explain to my sons when they were showing like how they put a dog. Russia put the dog into space, and then America did a bunch of monkeys before we did a human. And I had to. And then they were like, "Well, what happened when they got back?" I'm like, "No, they're not coming back." And then, do you know how
you just wash the helmet out and use it again?
Right? This is morbid, Jeff. But I was like, did they have some way? Did they just let them die of starvation up there?
What do you mean, like a button to make it easier, make it more humane?
I
see what you're saying.
Was there a way, suck the air out quick?
No, don't do that.
No, they're saying some way to make it quick.
One of their teeth, one of the monkey's teeth is a cyanide tooth.
Or did they just burn up back into the atmosphere?
Oh, that's real bad.
Because then my sons did ask me, well, how did they die? And I was like,
that's
you know what,
fault.
son?
That's your fault for even telling them they died. You should have made up a story. What happens when they get up there? Oh, well, they go to the monkey planet and live forever with superpowers.
Well, I wanted them to be, they need to know the truth.
Yeah.
Some
this
things,
is Christmas morning, right after gifts. He's telling me this.
Some things had to die in the pursuit of science.
You got to burn some monkeys to make space, man.
They saw the first vessel a human being went up in, and it is terrifying.
It is terrifying. I've seen the same thing you're talking about.
What they climbed into and got shot up in
Did they let you into it?
No, it's behind a glass.
Okay, they used to, in the Smithsonian when I was a young boy,
they just touch it?
They used to let you used to get inside of it. I have a picture somewhere. I have a picture somewhere of me inside a space capsule, inside the Smithsonian, and you're right. And it was terrifying for a small boy. Yeah, so imagine a big, tough, old Air Force man.
So, Jeff, did you know how they killed the monkeys?
Wow. Can we go back to talk about the sugar
glider? We could go back to sugar glider parts.
I'm sure there had to have been a plan, even back then, although people were harder.
Different relationship with animals.
They were just like,
You can't even talk about that now. You got to be like,
there's war.
You have to say, like, there's monkey robots up there now. Right?
Yeah.
Or we just have simulated monkeys that, we have some devices that will be able to, do the same tests that a monkey subject would do, just using a tiny robot.
Monkey AI. This is where monkey AI.
Yeah.
Well, they've already, there's more trouble with that with Elon. He was doing some of that. I mean, you can't. It's a different time now. People don't like that stuff, man.
Yeah.
You still do it, but you got to keep it. I guess you got to keep it quiet.
I did see another thing about a smart telescope. Jeff, have you seen these? They're called Celestro. And it's like a...
That name makes me want to hate it.
It's like a supervillain.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Celestro.
So it's Celestro, the smart telescope, and it looks like a telescope with instead of where the viewer is, it's just basically a computer box, that...
Those are called monitors.
No, not a monitor. It goes to your phone. So basically you set it up, and then it looks at space and just beams it to your phone. It's ultimate laziness.
Can't even look at the eyepiece. No more eyepieces. Too lazy for eyepieces.
So you're sitting on your couch. You're like,
my eyes are so tired. I just want to hold my phone up.
So where you're scrolling TikTok and you're like, I want to look at space for a second. and then,
I don't even want to walk outside to look at space.
And then Celestro will beam the images to your app, the Celestro app on your phone.
They're real?
And
how do you know they're real? It could literally be like AI generated beautiful. You're like, look, I'm looking at the moon. You're not some guy.
You run in there, you're like, you're looking at the wall, Celestro. You're not looking at nothing.
You lied to me.
Anyway, so
that bothers me. That bothers me that it's not analog because one of the reasons why I enjoyed going to Jeff's telescope. But going to the Science Center and looking through their professional grade real one is there was no digital, and I was going to say monkey piston, but seriously, it's analog. It's literally lights coming in this thing and it's shooting into my eyeball. I like that. Is what made it special, I think.
Like, you can look at a webcam of the beach, or if you look at the beach with your eyes, it is better. But it's getting close.
Do we need one?
No, well, it's one of those things where you're right. Like, if I just went to the Celestro app and then it showed me the universe, I would be like, all right. I don't need my Celestro.
I mean, I'm not above emailing them and saying we might need to test one for the Science Center for our podcast and radio show. You never know.
By the way, still booking VIP tours.
Thank you for bringing that up. If you want to look through our old school telescope because you don't trust Celestro,
I don't.
Come up to the observatory at the Science Center Friday and Saturday nights. We are still doing booking private tours, so you can come in and hang out with our astronomy guys, like our good friend Spencer, and check out the cosmos through our ginormous telescope.
It's awesome, and just the process of going there, navigating the steps, hearing it open, seeing the mechanics involved. It's one of those things where I don't even know. I want to do it again. It's also one of those things where if you have a kid that's really into astronomy, you can't give them a better gift. I can't even I can't blow this out of the water more. It's not even possible to inflate this.
Super cool.
It's super cool. So it's one of those things where if you want to do it, you guys only do this very limited amount ounce of time.
Yeah,
right?
we've got about another month and a half. It will wrap up early March because we do it along with when it still gets dark earlier. But it's a great thing. Small groups, get in up there, bring your family, bring your friends, bring up to 10 people. You book this privately in the observatory. We've got Spencer and some other folks up there. Gives you some great views. Plus, we've got a mobile planetarium. It's like a tent, and it's got high def projection. You go in there. It's a planetarium show. Takes you anywhere in the universe.
Yeah, you can
my kids love that. Yeah,
we were just shouting out places and then flying there. It was really ridiculous.
Yeah. And then it maps it. I'm just laying down looking at the universe.
Yeah. Take
Spencer.
that, Celestro.
yeah. That's cool. Give me one of those in my house. Brian, anything 1010's got going on coming up? I know you guys are going to be out at Science on Tap this weekend. We'll all be out there.
Oh, what is this other beer, by the way? What is this?
That other one, that is the Santa's White Christmas, our golden stout with the Santa's White Christmas coffee and
literally the
Belgian chocolate.
Best smelling beer you will ever have is the Santa's White Christmas.
Last time I was on, Tom was asking about the caffeine levels, with the coffee beans, and there is actually about a pound of beans per barrel. But the caffeine is so far disseminated or dissipated throughout the liquid or whatever that it's not an issue.
So you don't get any caffeine?
No, you don't get any rush from it, no.
That's a delicious beer.
It is so good. If you like coffee, I mean, there's no bitterness there. It's just like straight coffee flavor.
So we'll see you guys out at Science on Tap this Saturday. Yeah. We'll all be out there as a show.
Fellas, thank you for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having us. This event is a big fundraiser for Orlando Science Center, and we appreciate your support.
Well, I think it's important to let people know that. Like, I think that's a cool thing to let people, like, if you go there with your kids, if you've used the beautiful and wonderful, can't say this enough, air conditioning at the Science Center, if you've been one of those parents that uses this invaluable resource, then you owe it to them to stop by and check it out, man. And if you've never done a beer fest, this would be the one to start. It's going to spoil you.
Super nice.
And make you like them a lot.
OSC.org.
Yes, sir.
Brian, Jeff, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you,
guys.
We will be right back.
It is a corporate time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
No Samantha, but happy anniversary to her, and happy Wednesday, everybody. We are live on Twitch and YouTube. Just search at Tom and Dan Live if you'd like to see what our faces look like when we're talking.
We're going to be at the Orlando Solar Bears game, their whiteout game, which means everybody's wearing white that night on January 27th. And we're doing a pre-game tailgate out at Mo DeWitt's parking lot.
Yeah. Hand-grilled hot dogs by John Busdogger.
Well, there's been some controversy about that. Brendan O'Connor said that he was going to try to get some Publix platters. And I'm like, no,
platters?
I want grilled hot dogs.
You
hear that, Busdogger?
I want Busdoggers.
It's 135 West Central Boulevard is the address to the parking lot.
I would say just roll your windows down and use your nose, smell those fresh grilled hot dogs.
It's close enough that we could just walk over to the arena after. So get your parking spot, head over there. We're going to be there like an hour or so before the game starts. We got some free White Claw, some Mo beers, like I said, some food. You'll see the Just Call Mo tent, and we'll all be hanging out there.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go back to the Tom and Dan section. And you can get your tickets, section 118 at tomanddan.com. Just buy your tickets through the link. That's the easiest way to get them.
What are you wearing? Do you have your white outfit yet?
Well, I only have a white shirt. I don't have white trousers. So,
white trousers, huh?
Yeah. I don't have any white shorts or white pants at all, and I'm not going to buy them. I'm just white shirt.
You know what I might wear? White painter's overalls.
Okay.
No shirt.
You look ridiculous.
But I'm going to wear white painter's overalls, no shirt. Backwards white hat. No, I'll wear white hat with desert flaps.
What is that flaps?
The desert flaps? I don't know.
So your neck doesn't get sunburned?
So your neck doesn't get sunburned.
Okay.
But if you wear those, I make fun of you. Especially if you're old in a kayak, I still make fun of you. I'm like, you'll be dead soon. Let your neck get some sun.
Just wear a bigger brimmed hat. full circle,
like a big styrofoam cowboy hat. All right, it's Weird Job Wednesday. I don't have a Weird Job song, so can I AI one?
Yes, you can.
All right, here. Already done.
All right.
All right. So fast. All right, here we got two. One's called The Weirdest Job of All. One's called Joe's Unusual Gig because he's on the line.
All right.
So we'll play both and see which one's better. This one's called Weirdest Job of All.
It's Wednesday again. Time to get around for Weird Job Wednesday. We're turning it up loud, but since I celebrating, it's her anniversary. So today we got Joe, the quirkiest we'll ever see. Oh, it's the weirdest job of all.
I don't like that one.
No, that's pretty good. It'll do.
Yeah.
It'll do, pig.
It'll do. Yeah, you mother. One more.
It's Wednesday and I'm feeling kind of weird. Got a guy named Joe. His story's kind of offbeat. Sam's out celebrating their anniversary's near. Don't you worry, Joe's got a weird job to complete. It's Weird Job Wednesday. Step right up and see what kind of gig does Joe have up his sleeve. From circus clown to professional beekeeper, Joe's got a knack for the strange and peculiar.
I didn't write the beekeeper book. I'm going to blame that on my writers like Joe Coy. I did not write from circus clown to professional beekeeper. Joe's got a knack for the strange and peculiar. That doesn't even rhyme. That doesn't even rhyme.
Although beekeeper and circus clown, way more interesting than Joe's job, I think.
Ladies and gentlemen, online with us for Weird Job Wednesday is Joe the beekeeper. What's up, Joe?
Not much. How are you guys doing?
Good, man. Hey, thanks for the time. Thanks for being on Weird Job Wednesday. Let me get your opinion real quick. Where do you stand on AI music or AI in general? Are you on board?
I'm on board. I think it's super creative. I've been enjoying what you guys have been playing out the last few days. Okay. I would have hoped that you put some kind of like 80s rock in for my song.
I can do that.
Not some kind of
I can do that. How long do we
have?
have? Hold on. I mean,
my last name's Rock, and you got to go with something Rock.
Oh,
right?
okay. But Joe Rock. Oh, what's your job again? We'll custom tailor it to your job.
I'm a brand manager for a classic car stereo company.
Okay. We're brand manager for classic stereo.
Classic car stereo.
Oh.
Classic car stereo.
You got to add the brand in there too. Put retro sound for the brand.
Okay.
Oh God.
You got to brand
Joe, you're at too many details.
Come on, man. We got to get some marketing out of this. Right?
I like Joe. I like Joe's like really pushing her buttons. Okay, it's going.
Okay, all right.
It's doing. I did 80s rock. I did. What's the name of the brand? Retro sound. I did classic car stereo. Sound. Okay, we got two songs already. One's called Cruisin' in Style, and the other's called Rockin' Retro Sound. Both of these sound like some garbage that you'd see down at like some classic car cruise down at Old Town.
Which one do you want? Which one do you want?
Yeah, you can pick Cruisin' in Style or Rockin' Retro Sound.
Rockin' Retro Sound.
All right. Here we go. Here is Rockin' Retro Sound for Joe. I'm over it.
I was waiting until the bridge.
I'm over it. Yeah, I'm totally over it.
Made a custom song in 2 seconds.
Now I hate it. Now I don't like it at all.
It's amazing.
No, I didn't like it at all. That was
you put the things that made
it. Like a giant wall of compressed crap that's being fed into my ears. I didn't even. I don't. I'm deleting my subscription.
All right, Joe. So you are what now?
Yeah, you. So you sell old stereos.
No, what we do is we make new stereos that look like classic car stereos. So they mimic the authentic radio in, say, a 65 Mustang, but it's got all the bells and whistles of a new radio.
Okay, holy crap. You just answered a question I had about the Make 'em auction that was here in town. And I watch bits and pieces of it on Sunday early morning because I'm becoming an old man, and old men watch car shows at like 4:30 a.m. On Sunday morning.
Yes, we do.
And when you look in a lot of these cars, I always wondered, like, I've always wanted a classic car, but one of the things that would drive me crazy is I wouldn't be able to do any tech. Yeah, and that would drive me nuts. So how sophisticated can you get? Like, can you get anything that you want offered in a modern-day car basically in a model of an older car stereo?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, our latest model is the Motor 4 HD. We just added HD radio to it. It's got the latest version of Bluetooth. It works with Apple devices, Android devices, anything you need.
And it's all hands-free, like Bluetooth. Now, is there any way to integrate Apple CarPlay or Android Auto in like a hidden way on like a classic car?
There are ways to do that, like in a glove box unit. It's not something we offer. Our stereos kind of stick more to an authentic look, so the screen size kind of limits us to Apple Play.
Sure.
The screen needs to be a lot larger for Apple Play. But it is made for iPhone compatible, so it will work with your iPhone or your Android over Bluetooth.
That's awesome, dude.
I like how you mentioned HD radio. HD radio is 15 years old.
It is. I know.
It's so old.
It might be older than that.
I remember,
it might be 20 years old at this point.
I remember when I worked at the radio station, one Christmas party, they were giving away everybody. They attended.
They never gave me one.
Everybody got a free HD radio, which was basically they were trying to get rid of the stockpile of HD radios.
I never got one
because they all invested in them, thinking that it was going to be the wave of the future. HD radio. Each radio signal has
like five different signals. Yeah. There's 104.1A, 104.1B, 104.1C.
I like how no one stood up in that meeting and were like, there's the internet. And it seems like that is going crazy.
Yeah, that's what it fights against for sure. When you can stream stuff from your device as seamlessly as you can listen to the radio, why would you listen to the radio, right? But there are a lot of guys out there that still stick to the AM/FM bands that really love HD radio because it gives them that bump in quality.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have to tell this to Tom because he's not going to believe me and not to stick up for HD radio. But if the HD is not engaged even on my Tesla, I tap it because I like the way it sounds. It does sound better. And if you don't have it engaged, it doesn't sound right. There's some depth there that's not there. If you're just listening to a standard little dial in, I like that. I like the bump of that HD. Gives me the low end.
Dial.
I like the low end. When I listen to Jim Colbert, I like a beefy conservative.
So
I think it depends on your age group too, right? I mean, some of our older clientele still stick to AM/FM, and so HD is a value add for them.
Now, what is the most, I guess the other part of this that I would be fascinated in is that when you are mimicking a device that was in like a car that's 30, 40, 50, 60 years old or older, are any of the parts like the Bakelite, the plastic, any of the knobs, are they aged to try and make it look like, how do you guys go about making
or do you get the face of an old radio and then just put all the the electronics, the guts of a new radio?
Great question. We make manufacture new radios, so we don't like age them in any way. We thought about that, but we kind of like our radios to look new because a lot of the guys that putting our radios in their cars are trying to make their classics look like they were new.
Gotcha.
They wanted to be authentic, but they wanted to look new, so we don't do any kind of age chrome or anything like that. But basically our process is when we're developing a new radio is we'll order one on eBay, an original unit, and we'll mimic the design of that and just get new molding and new parts stamped out and put the radio face together in that manner. And then any face that we create for any make and model is compatible with our motor box or our radio hardware that it matches up to.
Do you have any pushback from any of the bigger automotive companies because you're basically stealing their design and making it into your own and selling it?
No, not at all. We keep our designs unique enough to kind of throw back to that authentic look, but not the exact. We do have a few radios that are licensed, like we have a Ford licensed radio for the 65 Mustang that mimics that one exactly.
That's neat.
So when we do that, we do get licensing, and they do quite well.
Dude, that's crazy that you could get it licensed by the actual manufacturer. That way it's like, well, we have the one you want here.
So what about the actual speakers? Because I imagine if you're upgrading the stereo, the radio, then you're going to want to upgrade all the speakers. And I think, if you're looking at like a 1950s car, there's not that many speakers.
Like paper speakers.
How does that work?
No, fantastic question, Tom. I mean, speakers after 20 years become brittle and just kind of fall apart on you. We do offer a full line of stereo speakers and what we call dash speakers for classic cars that are really slim profile, so they'll fit in those factory locations, but they're brand new speakers that'll perform like in you buy today.
Do you have anybody, man, and I would probably be one of these weirdos, not now, but do you have anybody that says, hey, I'm putting together this 63 Falcon, but I want the speakers to be exactly the way the speakers were in 63. I don't want them to be Kevlar. I want it to sound degraded. I want it to sound the way it would have sounded back in 63. Do you have people that try to take it that period correct or are that annoying?
No, I haven't seen that. But, a lot of those older classic cars, they didn't come with stereo speakers. They had just single locations in the dash.
Right.
So you'd have a mono speaker, and that doesn't really work with a brand new stereo that's outputting a stereo signal. So we do make a line of dash speakers that receive both the left and right channels into a single speaker location and kind of output a stereo mix, if you will, to kind of solve that problem.
This is a cool job. Like, we've done weird jobs, but I put this one on cool. Because this is the kind of thing, I don't know, it's just like there's something about this. You're also I almost feel like this is the icing on like an old man's cake, right? Because wouldn't that be like one of the last things you do? Like you'd get
it typically is.
Yeah, I feel like this is like, and I feel like once you bolted in that stereo, it's the icing on the top. So you take it around you want to put your old lady in this and take her around the block and then come back and get a handy, right? That's what you want to do.
You're taking an old man out.
Yes.
Once I pass 60 years old, I will never get a hand again.
All hands. Hands across America for Dad. It's all hands.
If you try to give me a hand, I'll smack your face. I'll slap my wife in the face if you try to give me a hand. I'll be like, it needs more than a hand. It's old. I need way more than just that does nothing.
I will be the most inappropriate old man.
It almost does nothing now.
Either way, music is super important to that experience, right? So you definitely want to make sure you can cruise your favorite tunes.
Thanks for getting us back on topic.
Really love the fact that they can throw on one of their classic tracks from their iPhone and just stream it right to their radio and take them back to the period that they love so much.
Yeah, man.
So Joe, it seems like there wouldn't be enough business because there's
it does seem super rare.
Yeah, like there's that many people that have classic cars that want a new sound system in their classic car. It seems like it was few and far between.
I'm with you 100%. When I first started this gig, that was my first question: is how much longevity is there here? But we've been around for 15 years, and it's a $10 million a year business, and we sell a lot of radios. It's a constant thing.
Well, if it's $10 million a year, you got to sell a lot. Yeah. Jesus Christ, man!
So I think one of the ways we continue to move forward is we open up those later years. A lot of kids restoring cars these days were driving around their dad's 80 or 90 pickup trucks, so we have to continue to expand what we define as a classic car.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you could get me an 89 Bronco 2, Danny Denny's favorite car. You could get me an 89 Bronco 2, no problem.
I can, absolutely. We have that.
Yeah,
I love that car, dude.
I always forget, 25 years ago is 1999.
I hate that.
I'm like, what?
I hate that.
25 years ago?
We see a lot of guys restoring 89 to 93 Ford trucks, Chevy trucks in that era right now.
Pretty easy to work on. Parts are abundant. You know what sucks is you weren't around when I had my Bronco 2, and one of the biggest problems that Dad and I argued about was having to go get a new stereo and get some new mount, and then when they did install it at the place, I mean, it was at a Circuit City because it's really all we had and really all we could afford, and it looked bad. The stereo was too modern for the car, so it looked weird. You know what I mean? Like if I'd have been able to get like a CD player that sort of looked, because it was CDs at the time, but if I'd been able to get a CD player that looked like my Bronco 2 stereo, that would have been amazing.
You would have been in 100%, right?
Yeah. I'd have bought it. Yeah, I would 100%.
Even worse is back in the 80s and 90s, a lot of people working on cars like that would cut big old gaping holes out of the dash just to fit a modern radio. So these days you have a lot of those vehicles with these huge holes that a factory radio or an authentic-looking radio to fit a factory fit won't even fit anymore. So we do also a DIN repair kit to kind of get around that has a faceplate that'll kind of mimic that look and fill that big old hole, because that was a big problem back in the 80s and 90s.
My buddy had a CRX. He tried to put the wrong stereo in there. It worked because of wires, but the kit to mount it was horrible, so it just kind of sat in there.
Yeah, they say it would stick out 2 inches.
Yeah. I mean, you did what you had to do.
So, Joe, what's the oldest car you've put a stereo into?
We just at the last SEMA show, we just had a sponsored vehicle. A guy built a 1930s Model T and slapped one of our stereos on it. It was all custom built, of course.
A 1930s car, and he listens to only Rick Ross. Only.
So those old Model T rat rods, like the rat sync style cars with a huge motor sticking out the front.
Yeah. So how customized is it as far as if I have, like, let's say some sort of 1950s Coupe de Ville, I don't even know what that is. I'm not a car guy. But and then I tell you the model exactly, and what else information do you need for you to put together a stereo and then send it to me, and then do I put it in myself?
You do, or you would have an installer put it in, but that's basically all we need. You can use the year, make, model search on our website and pop in your year, make, and model, and it'll recommend a radio that'll fit or that'll close to fit. And then you go from there. We've got over 18,000 unique SKUs on our website, so we cover thousands of makes and models.
Do you, like when I get this stuff, like is it comparably, how much more am I paying for a radio that's going to look nice than I would if I just grabbed one off of eBay and slapped it in my car?
I mean, that's tough these days because you can get an export or import radio on eBay for $20 to $40.
Oh, God.
But if you want to buy like a quality unit like a Sony or Pioneer or something like that, you're going to be somewhere in the mid-200 range. Our radios go from anywhere from 200 to 400 depending on the option.
Oh, so that's not break. Okay, so it's a reasonable idea to say, like, hey, if you did want it to look like rocket stock, you could. That's not too bad. And
our lowest model is $200 out the door, and it'll give you Bluetooth on our lowest feature set.
Pretty neat.
Are there? I'm sure this is a thing, but are there people that are putting ultra new tech, like I'm talking like pop-out screens and like video games and all this stuff in super old model cars, so it looks like a cherry, stock old car, and then with a couple pushes of buttons or whatever, TVs pop out, everything's
I don't know.
New
I've never
tech.
seen that.
Yeah, there is. There's a big craze. They refer to it as resto mod, and that's taking an old car and restoring it with modern technology. So you'll often see a lot of flat screen panels and radios and rides like that. It's not really our wheelhouse. We like to make things authentic looking and not high-tech looking, but we want it to perform high-tech.
I didn't know people did that, but it does make sense. Like Jackal was talking about in the chat room that somebody took Tesla guts and put it inside like an old classic Chevrolet. But it was
absolutely. There's actually a big section at SEMA now every year that's nothing but EV vehicles, electric vehicles that are converted from older model cars.
There's a guy online that I'm watching now that found a wrecked Tesla, and he's getting in there and trying to get into the guts and learn. His idea is, I want to be what your dads and our dads were to junkyards, going and pulling parts and being able to work on it. He's like, I'm going to do that with a Tesla. I'm going to learn how to do it. So as these things get more popular, I'm going to be computer EV junkyard man, and I'm going to know how to fix your EV on the cheap. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's a good idea. If you can teach yourself, old man, I mean.
I've seen people online take, like, Tesla motors and then put them in side-by-sides, like aggressive, like, sand dune side-by-sides, and they are crazy fast. And then I saw Travis Pastrana. He was in a electric rally car, that looked crazy fast.
It
like
looked very scary.
And then he was drifting it around or whatever. And it's bizarre because
it's just all torque.
It's not only insane amount of horsepower, but it's silent and there's no gear shift.
It's kind of creepy. No, it's just instant power.
Yeah. Which is
it does
weird.
degrade at a certain point, and that also has to do with the weight. That also has to do with how much it's charged. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, the future of electric motors is going to be interesting because they're going to start putting electric motors just like you're doing in a scooter and older cars too.
But I'm finding out firsthand that putting an electric motor in an old vehicle is very difficult.
Yeah.
It is not easy, and it is not bolt on and go.
So, Joe, how much do you make doing this kind of job?
I make a good living. I make $70K a year.
Whoa, nice.
You sound like
more.
Yeah, dude, you're killing it, and I think it will be more because it sounds like you really like it.
Oh, yeah, I love this place. It's a great product, and being in the automotive industry in general, it's just a lot of great people to work with.
And music, or, there's something.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of jealous of your job. I like this. This is a good job.
Now, do you have an old car yourself with new tech in it, or I like it when you are not interested at all in what you do.
There's something weird about that.
I like to hear that I drive a 2019 Nissan Sentra.
No, I like that. I like it when I go to the dealership and I'm looking at all the Silverados, and then the guy's like, "Enjoy your brand new truck," and I go to drive away and he gets in a Volvo. What happened?
Or like the American Choppers guy, they just drive regular trucks, pickup trucks. I thought you were driving a Batman chopper. You don't drive the New York City 911 chopper to work?
Someday I'll fix up an old Camaro or 70s Datsun or something like that, probably.
That's also one of the 2024 Tom and Dan goals, is to buy the American Chopper's 911, never forget Chopper, and bring it back to Orlando and put it outside our studio. Photo op with the chop.
All right, Joe. Well, we appreciate you sharing your weird job. And what's the name of your company again?
It's Retro Manufacturing, and the brand is Retro Sound. And I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man, anytime. Cool job, and thanks for listening. We appreciate it, all right?
Love it, man.
Yep, be good, man.
See you, Joe.
Bye-bye.
That is weird. I would imagine.
That's a good one.
Now that I think about it, of course that exists. But
that fits the bill, though. That is a weird job.
I thought, if you were encountering that problem, that you would have to go about it, find some sort of one-off guy, kind of like you did in in Europe that did this specifically. I didn't know there was a huge, big $1 million business that services the world.
It makes sense that there are a ton of them, a ton of classic cars.
Yeah.
You don't think about them really. Like my buddy Nadeem has a ton of classic cars.
Dude, I'm telling you, just like your scooter, there's going to be some company that sells kits to turn old four-wheelers, old three-wheelers, old dirt bikes, all into electric vehicles. They'll sell you the mounting kit. If you have a CR125 Honda, from the year of 92 to 98, it's this size frame. Well, this electric motor will fit in it, and here's how to make it electric, because there are tons of dirt bike junkyards out there, four-wheeler junkyard, and if you could just buy a cheaper electric motor made in China or whatever and just pop it in there and then now have, electric dirt bike or four-wheeler, I think
why wouldn't you do it?
A lot of people will start doing that.
Yeah, and it's becoming more economical. It's not terribly expensive.
Yeah, because then other than that, you'd have to buy an old two-stroke dirt bike motor, and then first it's going to be rusted, then you're going to have to refurbish it or whatever, just buy the new electric motor. And then when that one breaks, you pump that in the trash, you buy another
landfill, and you put the battery in the landfill, let the battery leak into the aquifer.
We'll be dead in the future. Who cares?
That's what we do.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
Mo DeWitt's here. How you doing, Mo?
Hey, guys.
So, Mo, I know we're doing a pre-tailgate at the Solar Bears game for January 27th.
Legally obligated. There we go.
All right. Okay. Injured on the go, just call Mo.
Yeah.
So we're doing the pre-Solar Bears party tailgate. Of course, you're a big sponsor of the Solar Bears. You got your name underneath the ice.
Name on the ice.
Yeah. I like that, by the way. That would be our dream, but then I looked into it.
We did. Maybe we did bury you in the ice. How about that?
I'm glad Bustekker's
here. Buried in ice? Buried in ice. We could bring back
Blaine did that already. and it wasn't that good.
Yeah, but Mr. Beast is Mr. Beast is now just redoing everything radio guys do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, pretty soon, Mr. Beast. Have you seen the new one he did where he's like, I gave this guy $500,000, and now I'm going to do whatever I can to destroy the money. So now he's just becoming an evil genius.
Yeah,
like now he's becoming a bad person. You're watching the turn right now because he used to just give the money to everybody with cancer, and he'd show up at the hospital and give somebody a Lamborghini. That's not what he's doing anymore. Now he's like, here's $500,000, but I can hide around your house and destroy the money.
Did you see the one where he locked the people in the room for
it made him go crazy.
Yeah, and then at the end he said, all right, if you both agree to split the money, it was like anonymous, but if one of them chose to keep the money, the other person got zero.
Yes.
So they just like pitted them against each other. They ended up splitting it. But
the other one, did you see the one where he tore a family apart because he put the guy in the shopping center?
I didn't see that.
He put the guy in a Walmart. Like He's like, oh, I'm Mr. Beast. I bought this Walmart. I put a person in there, and I'm going to drive him crazy. So this is what he did.
Become an evil genius.
He is. He's becoming. You're watching. It's happening slowly. It's just like gaining weight. It's happening slowly, and then one day you're going to wake up, and he's going to be just like Bezos, just like Elon. No different. He is no different. He put the guy in a Walmart, and then he said, "This guy, as long as he can stay here, he'll get $500,000 a day or something like that." Right. So the guy keeps earning money. Well, then because it was failing, right? Because this guy was getting Mr. Beast, he was besting the Beast. Mr. Beast was like, I need to ratchet up the pressure. He brought the guy's family, and he's like, haven't seen your family in 6 months. Look at that. He's a horrible person now. Sorry. I'm sorry I'm screaming.
Well, he's got to do something crazier and crazier, just like 90s radio. It's got to elevate every time.
He is 90s radio.
Soon he's going to be in some location abroad.
Jumping. He's going to be jumping things, right? Is that where you're going with that?
He's going to be sitting at a table. He's like, spin the chamber. And then the person is shaking him. He's like, all right, there's one bullet in there.
I'm just a deer hunter.
Let's see, 1 in 6 chance. Anyway, Mo, so
that
the tail
dark.
Well, that's what it goes. So that's how, I mean,
it's
what
happening.
He's running out of ideas.
It's happening right now.
So, Mo, we're doing this tailgate party, and it's been in the planning stages for months and months now.
Do you have your
outfit? I've got a white shirt. I don't have white pants.
I'm doing a full outfit.
White tuxedos are required for the two of you.
I wanted to do white tuxedo, but I may not be able to do that. But I am going to do white sweatpants, white Crocs, white shoes, white hoodie, white itty-bitty beanie.
Maybe leave one of those off.
No, I'm going to do white beanie. All right. I'm going to do little white beanie.
Like, how much white out is...
I'm doing head to toe. I might even do white sunglasses.
You can only see from waist up in the stands. That's what it's all about.
It's all about walking in.
They'll know. The fans will know.
No, this isn't like a judge or a newscaster where you could just wear business on the top. See, I tied it into law with the judge comment.
So we settled on the tailgate for the whiteout game, and we're doing it. It's at 135 West Central Boulevard.
Yeah, it's where our office is.
Yes, where the Mo DeWitt offices
are.
Look
for the tent. Look for the Just Call Mo tent.
Now, you've been referring to it as Mo's parking lot, which doesn't...
It's the parking lot at Mo's Southwest Grill. Free burritos for all.
What's in the parking lot?
I know, but you've been referring to it as Mo's parking lot.
I'm literal.
Well, there's no way we're inviting BDMs up to the office. We're not letting you animals in office.
That's true. You don't want that.
So, you just look for the tent. We'll all be out there. Yeah. We got some beers. We got White Claw. They're donating some products. So we got free. I
like that White Claw, Whiteout Party. It's a good tie-in.
So a month or so ago, Bustecker in a text message was like, hey, we'll do this. We'll have some beers.
Well, you've been rubbing off on him. I wanted to talk to both of you about this. You've been rubbing off on him.
Please don't rub off on him.
No, because I think he was trying to cheap out like you like to do.
Well, then he's like, I'll grill some hot dogs.
Yeah,
I'm like,
cheap it out.
I'm like, Busstecker's going to grill some hot dogs for listeners. So then I started promoting that. I'm like, Busstecker's grilling hot dogs for sure.
Like a suggestion that I might do it. I think you're going to promote it.
I made fun of it at first. I was like, Bus is going to grill.
I kind of did.
I said he's going to bring a charbroil out there and start doing it.
That's what they want.
I started going on a riff. I was
like, what are we? You can buy a lot of hot dogs for like $50.
I was like, what are we? Some family-owned Ace Hardware? And then I've got my daughter out there grilling hot dogs so I can sell a couple Yeti cups. But I'm not doing that.
But then I'm building theater of the mind. I'm promoting the event. I'm like, we're going to have free White Claw for beer, a tent, parking lot.
After I hated it, and then I was just rapid fire shooting holes in the idea, then he got me on board. That's usually what happens. He'll pull me along, and I am an advocate for him. And who's in your corner? Always. Me. So I invented this whole idea about bus doggers, the John bus doggers, come get a bus dog. And I was like, this is going to be great.
So we started talking about it. I'm like, this is awesome. We're promoting it. Then then I get the word that, Bus Decker's pulling back on the hot dogs. He's going to order some party platters.
Too much work.
Yeah, Brendan
too
much work.
Brendan told you didn't even tell us. We went behind your back and we got the scoop from Brendan because Brendan's not a liar. And Brendan said, Brendan goes, I think Bus is just going to get some party platters. And I'm like, party platters? That's terrible.
Yeah.
I've been selling bus dogs.
All right. Well, it's 10 days between now and then. I might change my mind.
It's like Joe Coy. We got 10 days.
So, Mo, I'm not going to tell you how to handle your employees. I'm just saying that I've been promoting Bus Decker's going to grill hot dogs. Yeah. We've been saying it. And if
I bought busdogger.com.
And if our listeners and BDMs go out and then we got some stinky old party platters on the table.
I'll be very disappointed.
They're going to be like Tom said, busted.
I don't even know what a party platter. What is a party platter?
Yeah, the Publix has the
chicken tenders. What if we put Bus Decker in a hot dog costume and make him serve the party platter?
Well, now you're just trying to get me to do anything. I'll do anything for that.
Anyway, so I'm just saying, if Bus Decker was actually physically grilling hot dogs on some
I have a grill. I can bring the grill. It's not really that big of a deal.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But Brendan O'Connor said you were retracting.
Party platter.
Are you going to eat a hot dog if I make a hot dog?
I will eat hot dogs.
All right. What kind? Are we doing turbo dogs, quarter? What are we doing? Quarter pound, half pound? What are we doing? What size? Greenville Franks?
I'm a ballpark Frank man myself. Yeah.
Okay, you like a long boy or are you like
just a regular hot dog?
A mini man.
I like the move where you throw me the hot dog and I try to catch it in my mouth slow motion. And
then you choke to death, so I do the Heimlich.
And then it just bounces off my cheek. And then I'm like, I know what that means. Wiener. Anyway, sorry, Mo. Anyway, so let's get to business here.
All right.
We had
I have questions.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Who needs questions?
Let's go with the BDM one first. You're right. The first question, was on the BDM page. I think you already commented on this, but I thought it was kind of interesting. This is from our BDM Facebook page. Hey, BDMs, I'm hoping to get some advice or recommendations on who to contact from one of your lawyermen in the group. I'm down in Lake Worth, and a couple of hours ago, a neighbor that lives a few houses down from me ran their car into my front door. The door and frame are mangled. There's a small hole in the concrete wall next to it and additional crumbling on the wall and cracks all the way up. Cops were called and we got their info. They also hit the side of my fiance's car. I already submitted a claim. Citizens gave me a claim number and gave me the name and number of the adjuster who will contact me tomorrow. Has anyone dealt with anything like this before? Should I lawyer up? And if so, does anybody have any recommendations?
Real quick, I can't imagine there's a lot of lawyers in that BDM group. Seems more like a truck driving kind of group. What are you trying to say?
Shots fired.
Listen, you were below.
This is the man that was going to grill you.
I'm just saying.
That's coming from Party Platter Pete over there.
Yeah.
We need a good villain now. You know what I'm saying? Because I've always.
How many lawyers you got in that group?
There's a couple.
I know a couple.
Actually, most of the lawyers
they don't want to admit it.
Yeah, most of the guys that I know that do mention that they are. I had a guy yesterday. I won't say who it is, but he was like, "Yeah, I'm a lawyer."
One of them is my sister's landlord.
I know that one too. Yeah. We have a lot of secret lawyers because we are a pretty embarrassing show.
They don't want to.
You tell me this now?
It's fine.
Only Mo is brave enough,
or dumb enough.
So back to the question, Mo. Someone hit his front door, hit his house, his wife's car. They've already made an insurance claim.
How does that happen?
I imagine
is a medical emergency, or are you drunk? That's the only two things I can think of.
A lot of times they're drunk. There was one by my house on Horatio where the guy was drunk, I think, jumped the curb, ran straight through the house, and they ended up having to demolish the whole house because it got filled with mold and all that kind of stuff, and they rebuilt the house. So, I mean, it does happen.
I've always thought it would be cool to have some. And hear me out. Like, there are these people locally in Baldwin that have that townhome that flooded because the people that were putting the roof on, they hit the sprinkler system in it and it flooded the whole thing. And now, like, 3 of the units are, like, condemned. And they don't know what they're going to do. And now, like, insurance, the company, whatever, they're all fighting it out, to see what they're going to do. Meanwhile, these people are unhoused, I guess. I've always thought that would be pretty cool because I'm like, I'll get a new house. I don't look at that as I know Andrea would start crying and everything. I'd be like, oh my God, free house.
The problem is it takes a long time.
I know, but I don't think about that. I don't think about that.
And they start negotiating. They're like, your house is worth this much.
Let's be honest.
It's not like they come in and they're like, we're giving you 100,000 over. I know. It's a negotiation.
I'm just showing you how stupid I am.
So speaking of that, I think that's why maybe you should get a lawyer for that negotiation process, but I don't know. What do you think, Mo?
Well, I mean, he wants to set up a claim with the person's car insurance who hit the house and his own homeowner's insurance. They want to make them aware of it as well. I'd say you probably don't need a lawyer right off the bat. Basically get some estimates from some contractors and make sure they're going to cover the estimates. If they're being fair with you, I don't think you need to get a lawyer. If they're lowballing you, then it's time to get a lawyer involved. But one thing to be cautious of, and somebody mentioned it in the group there, is don't sign any assignment of benefits because that can cause a lot of issues. Don't sign anything with a contractor until you know what the insurance company is going to cover. And then if you do have questions, give a lawyer a call. I mean, most lawyers who deal with this kind of stuff will give you some free advice. They'll do a free consultation. I mean, you hear the commercials all the time, call us for free. Well, call them, get some advice. If you have questions, ask them. But ultimately, I don't think you need a lawyer up right away in this situation. If somebody was hurt, it would be a different story. But here, since it's just property damage, I think you should be able to handle it without a lawyer, initially at least.
Okay.
Oh, I just had a flash of Mo. Rasta wig on, and he's like, "Call me now." He's doing the lady.
We've done that. We've done that video.
You've done the psychic lady?
Yeah, Miss Cleo.
But did you appropriate? Did you do the appropriate?
He was not wearing dreadlocks. No dreadlocks.
I had like a fortune teller hat on.
Fortune teller hat, though.
Some would call that a turban, but okay.
But wasn't she appropriating? Wasn't she not actually Jamaican or something?
I don't think she was. My good friend Drew Garabo is in the infomercial. I saw that. Ask him.
Because she filmed at the Real Radio Studios. If I remember.
It was after I'd already left his show, and Drew was in the. I don't know if he wants to talk about it, but he might. Yeah, I don't know. He and I are good, and
is he on air right now? Give him a call.
I'll ask him. I mean, he might talk about it, or I don't know what the deal is.
We have a Call Me Now video.
Okay, I'll have to find that.
I'll send it to you.
Please, thank you.
Maybe we should delete that one.
Looking out for you, Mo.
So, Mo, me and Daniel were talking about this earlier this week. There was a BDM that asked us about a mugshot. And they said that they got
It was my wife.
That sounds like the BDMs I know.
Yeah. So they got charged with a crime or arrested.
Just arrested. No charges.
Got a mugshot, but then they
were wrongfully accused. I think is the proper term.
And then mugshot, gets processed. Right. It's going through a longer than normal. Let's figure this out. Uh-huh. But then once everything gets out, it's like, nah.
Yeah, they threw it out, or the case gets dismissed, or whatever.
You didn't do anything wrong.
So then, therefore, you're not guilty of any crime. But the mugshot apparently still exists on the internet because of, I guess, their public knowledge or whatever.
And that Instagram, I think it's Mugshot Hotties. Oh, my God. My favorite Instagram account.
And I know that's partly the reason why there's so much, like, Florida man did this, and we're such a joke in the entire country because of our laws with media, and then basically
and the way we look.
It's our population.
It's the way we look. I don't know if you've looked at us lately, but we are very ugly.
Have you seen New Jersey? There's the worst people in New Jersey.
But it's colder.
That's the only comparison. Us in New Jersey.
No, follow me here. It's colder, so naturally, if they're ghouly, they cover themselves more.
And they stay inside 3 months out of the year.
We're naked ghouls.
No, they're mobsters up there.
Yeah, but they cover themselves.
And they don't get caught.
A ghoul in a leather jacket is better looking than a nude ghoul.
So, how does that work, Mo? Where if you have a mugshot and then you are acquitted or the crime, thrown out or whatever, like you're not guilty of anything, but the mugshot still exists, can you get that taken out?
That used to be big business where they'd have those mugshot websites and you have to pay them to remove it. They charge you like $500 or $800 to remove it. Otherwise, it would kind of live on the internet forever.
Yeah.
Now, I think they made that illegal now, so you can't do that anymore. So I think most of them have a provision where you can just request a takedown if you were found, not guilty or their charges were dismissed or something like that. It depends where it's living, obviously, if it's a news site or a personal site. But I know they passed a law about that a few years back. It's been a while since I've looked at it. But, they can't charge you to take it down anymore.
And what if you're a celebrity and your mugshot goes up, and then every BDM starts putting it out there, making fun of you.
That's a different story. Celebrities are different standard.
And then I go and I get it. I'm like, I was acquitted. Mo got me off. And then I'm like, I didn't. I wasn't driving drunk. And then but it still lives. If you search Tom Van mugshot, it still pops up because the BDM spread it around everywhere.
Yeah, you can't do anything about that.
Yeah, you can't do anything about that.
Oh God!
Yeah, so I guess the answer would be
don't drink and drive.
Well, I mean, like for this, what for these particular people though, man, I don't know if you can if it wants to stay out there, it will stay out there. What I mean by that is, like, if you do garner enough attention where people would want to screenshot your mugshot, you can't do anything about that.
Yeah, the internet's too powerful.
It really is. I mean, like, even if you got rid of it, somebody still got it on their phone, and they might wait 9 years and go, like, you know what? I want to put this back out.
Yeah, I mean, there was and I would say who it was or the media outlet, but there was a media outlet who posted somebody's mugshot from like 20 years ago. It was like, 20th anniversary of this person's arrest. It's like, you know,
it just keeps coming. I remember Blippi was the only celebrity.
No, I found it.
I know, but he got close to scraping every evidence of the old
can't
number
beat
3.
Me, Blippy. He can't beat me, and I take great pride in the fact. I wrote him an email and I said, "You can't beat me, Blip."
Yeah, and
I found the video of you spraying pudding out of your backside. That's what the video. I can't really just.
Because he tried to do like jackass style stuff before he did like the Blippi
it
stuff.
was his friend,
and he tried to scrape it, and he almost did, but it blew back over.
You can't beat Daddy. His friend was sitting on the edge of a tub, and he was standing on. He was doing a handstand on a toilet.
What were the things you were searching for to try to find that video?
What you would think. Exactly the words.
Yeah. Every video you would need to get to that video, I watched.
What were all the wrong videos that you had to see?
Oh, there was a lot of different.
Some things I can't even talk about. You have to go too far to be just right.
Mo, I got another question. I saw on the BDM page there was a BDM. They posted it anonymously, which I always laugh at because they're so embarrassed. Which is it's funny to be embarrassed on the BDM page.
By the way, I'll say it before. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If you post anonymously on the BDM page, nobody knows who you are. Like, so go ahead, please do it. Because if you want some anonymity, if you do that, there's no way I will know who you are. So just do it.
I'll say it's usually Bustecker.
Yeah, just do it.
So basically, he got one of these like fix your credit services because he has bad credit.
I know that guy.
It's easier. You just write these letters.
You know what you are?
You're like, this is not mine. It's mine.
You know what you are?
Sure. I'm looking at the charge. It's mine for sure.
You are the
I'm lying.
You are the Orlando and Castleberry equivalent of Ric Flair in the Car Shield commercials. Like, with the fact that you used.
So I have to not think about it.
Like Ric Flair. Have you seen him in the Car Shield commercial? Car Shield. Oh, it's so good.
Anyway,
and Exhibit, and Ric Flair.
So one of his credit cards was suing him, and the court date they sent him in the mail or whatever, and it was coming up, and then he was trying to ask the credit card company like, "What should I do?" They're like, "Oh, we'll handle it," but all these things are like loose, and so he was freaking out because he didn't know what to do. And I saw you made a comment, Mo, on the BDM page, which Mo's awesome about doing. If like people ask questions, like
especially if he tagged me on it, which is way easier.
Cheap. I feel like that's cheap when you do that. I feel like you should tag it and then you should send Mo $1. I'm serious. Like, it feels like you should not be allowed to do that.
No, I appreciate when they tag me because, like, sometimes if you message me on Facebook, we get so much spam on there that a lot of times it gets lost. I try to answer everything, but it's hard to sort it. And every 5 minutes they're sending you some fake alert. Your account's being shut down for so and so. Click here. So you have to kind of dig through all those to actually find the legitimate questions. So, anyways.
And so, what was your advice to this person? Because his court date was like this weekend or something, and they didn't know what to do.
Well, and they don't have court on the weekends, but
it was a trap. It's a trap. Don't go. They don't have court on the weekend. They're trying to get you.
That's why Mo's a lawyer.
Yeah, they're trying to get you, man.
I'm like, I'm here for my free TV. Oh, sorry.
Well, I can't breathe. One of the things, the credit repair agency just told him to ignore it and they would handle it and that he didn't need to show up to court. But I've dealt with a number of listeners where they get notices and they ignore them. And then eventually the company gets a judgment against them. They start garnishing their wages. And that's when they're like, wait a second, I have to do something. And by then it's usually too late to do anything. So if you don't show up to court, most likely they'll get a default judgment against you. They'll add a bunch of attorney's fees, a bunch of interest, late fees, penalties, all this kind of stuff. And you're going to owe some gigantic amount. if you show up or hire an attorney to show up, you can typically, if you do owe it, you can negotiate it, work out a payment plan. There may be defenses. It may be barred by the statute of limitations. So you need somebody to actually look at it. But the worst thing you can do is just not show up.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about, Mo, because I feel like the court system is they don't mind if you show up and don't know what's going on. They like, for instance, you can, if you like, you look at the court date and you're like, all right, I don't even know what this is about or what I'm supposed to do, or and you could just show up to the courtroom. Or like the courthouse, and then show someone this is what, and then they'll kind of usher you to where you need to be and kind of walk you along the process.
Like you're at an old folks' home and you need to go potty.
Like they won't penalize you for being ignorant. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, it's good not to be ignorant. They'll at least show you where the courtroom is. I mean, and that's still better than just not showing up at all. But depending on the situation, you should probably consult with an attorney. Get some advice, at least do a consultation, and maybe hire somebody to represent you. Depending what it is, it may be fairly inexpensive to get somebody to represent you in something like that. But again, at least show up. Typically, with those kinds of things, if it's a small claims court, usually you show up and there's a pretrial conference and they try to do like a little mini mediation to see if they can work out a payment plan with you. But again, you have to show up, otherwise they're just going to get a default judgment against you.
Yeah. It's basically what I'm saying is if you don't know what's going on, the courtroom's not going to, or the judge or anybody's not going to penalize you for not understanding the process or why you're even there.
Scared,
they just need you physically there, right?
I would be terrified.
It can be intimidating, but they're not going to yell at you, for showing up and following instructions. The worst they're going to say is, you might want to hire an attorney on this, get some representation. Typically, the judge can't give you legal advice, but there is, at least in Orange County, they have a self-help center where you can go and try to get some help there. And some advice if you need it.
You guys want to hear a gangster rap song? Yes,
you don't even have to finish that.
It's about John Busdecker and his fresh grilled peckers.
All right, here we go.
Check it, this time boost that up. The grill master cooking up peckers that'll make your taste buds faster. I got the heat, the sizzle, the flavor that's supreme. Grilling up peckers like you never seen. Yeah, chopping up onions, peppers, and spices so lethal. Searing the peckers, getting that perfect syrup feel. Throwing down some BBQ sauce, smoking them to perfection. When it comes to grilling, I'm the gangster connection.
What do they call it? Is that the bridge? Is that the bridge?
It's the hook, man.
The hook.
John Busdecker's grilled pecker.
I love it.
It's good.
I love
man.
it.
It's got a beat.
Speaking of AI, Mo, we had one last question.
Let me get my article here.
It seems like technology moves faster than the laws do.
Very true.
And it seems like this AI is going to cause a lot of problems in the entertainment industry and copyright issues, and because right now, I mean, we just did it. It's writing songs for you. It's stealing, and Daniel's right. The reason why it has that like hiss or like that, or the audio quality is not perfect, is because it's putting this song together using thousands of songs, and I don't even know how it's doing it, but
it seems very torrenty to me, where it's just stealing little bits of data and putting it back together in a song.
And then Daniel was talking about like now there's AI videos, and you can put people's faces on whatever video you want them to be on. And then there was a case.
I guess this is as of today. A teenage victim of non-consensual sexually explicit deepfakes joins Representative Joe Morrell, Democrat from New York, because they're going to try and change some laws, because apparently, I guess, and Mo will be able to tell us, but isn't it like state law now? It's up to...
Yeah, I mean, typically it's going to be state by state. I don't think there's any federal act in place yet, but the law is very much behind the technology at this point, where they just don't really know what to do with it. I mean, and that's historically kind of what happens. I mean, think about how long it took them to shut down Napster, which was just blatantly stealing music for years. So it's going to take a while, and this is way more complicated than something like that, how it works and where they're getting the information from. There's already a number of lawsuits involving it, and whether it's a transformative work or whether it's just blatantly stealing somebody's work. So there's going to be a lot of lawsuits, and ultimately we're probably going to need some sort of federal law that clarifies how this works. on a national basis. Because typically trademark law is national usually.
But by the time they figured out Napster, the world had changed, and
right.
And so
and that's what's going to happen here. There's going to be something brand new. We'll have law that applies to something that happened 5 years ago, because it takes a case. It could take a case 3 to 5 years just to work through the system with all the appeals and everything else.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the case with any emerging technology. By the time anybody steps in and says, "Oh, you can't do this," the society has already done it and are doing it currently, and there's no way to stop it. It's like
where it really gets dicey, and it's the thing I don't like talking about, is there are cases that I've read about, and this is where it becomes less fun, where they're like, you have like pedophiles using this technology to create children that don't exist and create sexually explicit images, and that's just uber wrong.
Yeah.
It's like really twisted and weird, and like kind of like it. It's I don't even know how to even wrap my brain, or it's not even something I wanted to or ever thought I would think about. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not.
Yeah, I mean,
as a parent, I see that and I'm like, that's not good. That's bad.
No,
that's bad.
It's disgusting and it's bizarre. But then there's also some really bizarre case law where there was a guy who was arrested who would go and sit in like the parking lot of playgrounds. I think I can't remember if he was convicted, but whatever. He would sit in the playgrounds, and they'd asked him what he was doing, and he basically said, "I'm fantasizing about these children doing, sexually explicit things." And they prosecuted him for that. And ultimately, the Supreme Court said, "Well, you can't prosecute somebody for imagining something."
Right.
So then, how do you deal with something that's like a fake image, or is it a fake image? It all becomes very convoluted. In the
perfect
law.
Example of how icky it gets. That's perfect. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
It's like everybody's seen the Lisa Simpson pornos.
Let's not say everybody. Maybe on that side of the desk.
I'm saying another great example. I have great examples to my left, great examples to my right. It's a think tank. We are an AI think tank. Hold on, I got to get that aside.
It's on the advertisement on the side.
Everyone's seen the Lisa Simpson porno.
No, I didn't click on it. It's just I realized it exists.
My God,
and then I'm like,
that's not a saxophone.
We should really reconsider the sponsorship.
He's 8 years old.
And then Mo said, we should really reconsider the sponsorship. That's not good. You'll join the long line like Manscaped. Take us back, Manscaped. We didn't mean to tell it. Oh, whoops, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to tell it.
Mo and Manscaped, they're going to be analyzing this audio.
Oh, my God, we lost Moscape.
Like, remember when Tom brought up Lisa Simpson? That was the day the show died. Sorry, Mo. Intern on the go, just call Mo. Come see John Bustecker Grills and Hot Dogs
exactly.
On January 27th.
Saturday.
Saturday. The pre-tailgate party for the Solar Bears game.
Intern on the go, just call Mo. Caught in the snow, just call Mo. Feeling kinda low, just call Mo. Some extra dough, just call Mo. God needs a Mo, just call Mo. Ladies tell you no, just call Mo.
Okay, hold on. Ladies tell you no, just call Mo. That's not.
Also not approving that one.
That is absolutely. AI's. Ladies tell you no, just call. That is
He's not a defense attorney for rapists.
I have to delete the program.
Yeah. Also, if you're feeling low, don't call Mo.
No, and if you're in the snow, do not call Mo.
Stupid AI. All right. Sorry, Mo.
Yeah.
Bustecker, I'll see you next Saturday.
Yeah, grilling your hot dog. All right.
And we'll be right back. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Let's get the business out of the way and get to our guest very quickly.
Yeah. We'll be on Science on Tap this weekend at the Orlando Science Center. And speaking of this weekend, our next guest, he's going to be at the Wesley Chapel Side Splitters. That's the one north of Tampa this weekend.
There are 2 locations. Make sure you go to the Wesley Chapel location if you want to see our next guest.
Yep. Taylor Williamson is on the line. How you doing, Taylor?
Hey guys, I'm good. How are you today?
Really good, man. Hey, thank you so much for, I know this is like super last minute. We know you have to, you're super busy and you got stuff to do, but we really appreciate the time. And you are a comedian that I've seen everywhere, and I kept going like, who's that guy? Who's that guy? And then Billy, our buddy, like said, hey, do you want to talk to Taylor? I'm like, absolutely. We have to be able to talk to Taylor because you have been hobnobbing with some of the most famous people I have ever seen lately. I see you pop up on Bad Friends. I see you pop up on WTF with Mark Maron. I see you, obviously, what is bigger than America's Got Talent, but is it as much the whirlwind as it seems?
But why are we not discussing that I'm on Tom and Dan in Orlando?
Well, I mean, like, and you're also going to be, in Wesley Chapel. So, like, scoop the tickets. I mean, that's the important stuff. But no, like, I guess for us, we look at this and, like, I look at you and I'm like, well, how can he be everywhere? How can he be this big? Like, how are you able to even manage it? Because, we know Preacher Lawson. He's from Orlando. He does the America's Got Talent stuff. It seems very, very difficult, like extremely difficult.
Well, you're very sweet, and it's very stressful. I've been doing this for 20 years, and you guys are in the same business, similar, and like I've had not enough work and it's stressful, and too much work and it's stressful. Right now, I'm in too much work, and I've decided that's better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm so grateful to be asked to be on cool shows like yours and talk about my goofy comedy shows and get to travel to places. I hear Wesley Chapel's like, everyone I know in Tampa is like, you're going to Wesley Chapel? Oh. It's just like, it's not like me. It's not like bad, but it's just like, oh, alligators. Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to see some alligators. You're going to meet some interesting characters. And I'm like, cool. Okay. Here we go. You know?
Well, there is Florida. Yeah. There's alligators and interesting characters everywhere. We're lousy with both. So
can I tell you, I was just in Calgary, Alberta, Canada with negative 40-degree weather. So anything in Florida sounds ideal to me.
You'll like it.
I saw your social video about that. It was just funny because you're coming down here when a cold front is happening to us now. So like the high is going to be like 58, and that's real cold for us.
Oh, yeah. But it's going to be perfect. You're going to be so happy.
We're like, we can't go outside. It's 58 outside.
Yeah, like this morning it was 49. And I was like, I don't have clothing. I don't have any clothing for this.
I'll be sunbathing after Canada.
So I want to talk to you about America's Got Talent because we've talked to other comedians that have been on that show, and they talk about how difficult it is because it's
the hardest category, I think.
It's unlike any other like venue or like audience. You're going on after breakdancing. They're like someone's doing a slam dunk.
But more than that. But you know what's funny? More than that, I don't like comedy. Is not something like judges. What do you mean judges?
Yeah, that's
weird. It may
weird.
not be for you.
So how weird was it for you, and what was your strategy going into it?
You think it's weird to have Heidi Klum and a German supermodel and Scary Spice, Mel B, pop star to tell me what's wrong with my comedy? You think it's weird for a Jewish guy to be scolded by a German lady for how he's not funny and he's supposed to be on a family television show and he's supposed to try to explain
in this climate
say something funny but be appropriate at the same time. Yeah, it's a disaster, honestly. It's and also, let alone also the crowd's not there to watch comedy, and like there's nothing worse than performing for people who aren't there to watch you do comedy. And it's not their fault, by the way. You don't have to want to see comedy. But, like, I've done private events where, like, a business hires me because the boss loves me.
Yep.
And then he forces his employees to watch me against their will, and then they're not laughing, and like they don't want to be there, I don't want to be there, and then they say I'm not funny, and I'm like, well, I'm down to, you're allowed to, I don't think I'm not going to argue I'm funny, but like you don't have to like my style of comedy, but it's like, it's a nightmare. And then you're also supposed to do your best stuff every time, and then the next round you're supposed to be better than last time.
But
eventually it doesn't. We're like, how do you do your best stuff the first time? How do you pick and choose what? Like, when you start with your D material, work your way up to your it doesn't. It doesn't
because there is a strategy with this game with the reality show. I know you did real well.
He crushed it. So, like, why do you think you did well? Do you think it's your demeanor? Because I was going to pay you a huge compliment. I think you're cool. I think you're cool in any scenario.
Wow, I've never been called cool in my entire.
I approve of this. I approve of this. When Bill said that we were talking to you, I Googled you, and then I usually go and I look at a bunch of different stuff to see if there's any little new tidbits that are happening right now that we can grab onto. And I saw you do an interview with like a young girl about 5 days ago, like not that young, not like bad, but like, but like you're sitting on a couch with her, and you guys are doing like an improv, right? You're like an improv, sort of a really bizarre, weird interview. And you nailed it. You were so cool. And the girl has like maybe 500 followers. It only had 24 views on the thing on the YouTube. But you were so cool and pro, and just like she would do the weird. She did this skit where she's like, "Oh, I brought the drugs that you wanted." And you were.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's on YouTube.
It sounds like I'm not that cool if I did that.
No, you guys are doing like an improv, and the girl goes, "Oh, here are the drugs that you requested," and you said, "Oh, thank you," and you're like going along with her dumb skit.
Yeah,
and you were so cool, and I'm like, this guy,
her dumb skit.
Yeah, I was like, this guy can handle any scenario. You can throw like this girl. It's 24 views. It was a dumb skit. It looked like she was doing that weird improv, like unless this is your wife. If it's your wife, I'm very sorry. Or your mom, or like.
Well, I think what Daniel's trying to say is like even on the biggest stage or the smallest stage,
doesn't matter.
You don't waver with who you are.
You're genuine.
Yeah.
You're very sweet. Yeah, honestly, like listen, the game. I haven't been playing the game of doing podcasts and putting myself out there and doing all the cool radio shows like yourself. Like I've been doing the business wrong, basically, and I feel like I feel like Harlan Williams had me on his podcast last night.
We love Harlan,
and I'm like he's a genius, and he's so wonderful and a kind guy, whatever, all the things. But like I get that these people, I don't know, I'm grateful people are having me on their things, and if someone wants me to come on their thing, I'm like, you know, like we do each other favors and we all lift each other up. And I'm playing the game now. If I get 10 fans, like I'm sure some people in Orlando are like, I'm not going to drive to Wesley Chapel, but maybe they want to watch my new comedy special. Cheap plug, but maybe they want to watch my new comedy special I filmed called Taylor Williamson Live at the Comedy Store. It's free on YouTube. And it's my best jokes I've ever told. But then I'll have better jokes. Come see me at Side Splitters. I have better jokes. But it's a whole different act. But I'm grateful to connect with special artists like yourself, you know?
Well, you brought up something that I read in an interview that you said, and it's kind of what we've been saying for years too, because we're our own business and we started as a podcast back in 2009, and you mentioned that like you don't need millions of followers or fans anymore. All you need is thousands and a Patreon, and you can make a career out of whatever you want to do in entertainment. And it's true, because it's now with the internet and social media, and there's so many different avenues to make money. Really, you can do it whatever way you want to do it, and it's cool that we have that now, although it makes it a lot more complicated, because now you have to be a social media person and do every element yourself, which makes it more complicated.
Yeah, like we used to only have to work an hour a day or a couple hours a day, however long your radio show is, and how many shows I have at night, and besides travel or whatever. And you should do more. We all should be doing more already. But like now, like I'm spending a couple hours a day editing, you know, and I can hire people to do stuff, but also we know how we want to put ourselves out there more than they do. So as a creative, it's hard to hire people to write the text that best shows how we want to be represented. You know, like it's not just I need someone to cook a sandwich. I don't know. I'm bad at analogies. You get what I'm saying?
I absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. I am also bad at cooking sandwiches. No, good.
By the way, I have a chef. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm homeless, but I have a private chef.
Hey, now I have to ask you, because Daniel is also, he's in love with his, I like to call them pee-pee dogs, tiny dogs.
Yeah, on our show, we call little dogs, we call them pee-pee dogs, because notoriously rich women buy these little pee-pee dogs, and the pee-pee dogs pee-pee everywhere. That's why they're called pee-pee dogs. Now mine, I have a West Highland Terrier. I love West Highland Terriers. This is my second West Highland Terrier. His name is Dansby. He is my best friend. He's actually right now at doggy daycare for the first time ever, and I'm very anxiety. Like I have called the place. It's called Rangers. I've called it 3 times. They don't have cameras. I'm very upset. I want to be able to check on him.
And so you have and bring your dog with you touring, correct?
Yeah. Don't you have a pee-pee dog?
Well, I'm conflicted because I'm offended by your.
I apologize. It's the street lingo.
No. I'm just describing the style of dog.
Would it help if we go to the Pepe?
Pepe? I have a Chihuahua that sounds racist. To be correct, Pepe.
Okay, well, a little dog, tiny.
He just got canceled. But listen. My beautiful daughter, her name's Betty.
She's beautiful.
At Betty the Puppy Doggy on Instagram. I don't know who I am anymore. Listen, it's weird.
I support it. My dog has an Instagram too. Don't feel bad. No judgment here. Dansby the West Highland Terrier. I think he's got one of the hipster ones. It's like, I am Dansby _ You know, and that makes me a little mad because I'm like, I am Dans. He's like declarative. He's very declarative.
Yeah. I mean, like, I somehow ended up with this 4.6 pound Chihuahua that
she's gorgeous.
Thank you. She is very sexy, and I take her like everywhere with me. I'm that guy who I have a dog in my backpack, and like I decided when I first got her, I tried doing the chest carrier thing, but like that's wild. The attention you get is ridiculous.
My wife won't let me do it. My wife, I did something real bad. After I got the dog, I signed it up for all the fake service dog stuff, and I got it the vest and the collar and all the stuff where I can take him anywhere. He's got a little card ID. He looks like a FBI, but she won't let me use it because it's not real, and it would be me like taking advantage. Because I also walk with a limp when I have him like that. Like there's things I do.
You're a monster. Yeah,
I used to be.
The problem with having like a 4-pound dog and claiming it's a service animal, it's a little bit hard to like be like, yeah, if I have a seizure, she'll carry me around and she'll call 911 for me. Like,
but I'm 5'2". I'm also a very small man. I'm a very little man.
So maybe you pass. Maybe it works out.
It might absolutely work.
Well, Taylor,
forgive me, but I feel you. It's very important. I want to say I feel you on. You have separation anxiety from your dog who has separation anxiety.
Yes,
and you want to make sure your dog's okay at the place. But you just gave them a plug, so they should be sending you money. I just want to say.
Oh man, this guy. This is why we're gonna have to do this again, and we want to keep you on schedule because we know you're super busy. Taylor, thank you so much for the time. Don't forget to go and get your tickets to see him in Wesley Chapel. The best of chapels.
Yeah, this weekend north of Tampa and Side Splitters.
And for a fact, I know a lot of the guys in the chat room are going to scoop up some tickets. So we did good.
They're going to scoop up tickets?
We did good. We did good today.
Thank you. And please check out my comedy special, Taylor Williamson, live at the Comedy Store, free on YouTube if you want to check out what my comedy is like. And my whole America's Got Talent journey is on my YouTube. I'm the second most talented person in America. If you don't come to my show, you're an idiot.
Your special is really good, by the way. I was watching a lot of it this morning. It's really funny.
Thank you again for
that means so much to me. You guys are so awesome. And I'd love to talk real soon.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again, man. Stay safe out there.
Tell Hulk Hogan I said hi.
We'll do it. We'll do it. See ya.
See ya.
That is Taylor Williamson live from what appears a log cabin. I love his background.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back with more Corporate Time.